Nobody, no crime. Well, not on my time. Eyes are watching, giving victims a voice. Raise your voice from Delphi to Canton, and there will be no more botching. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an alibi if you collect evidence in red Solo cups. If your expert says it just did, you might have a problem. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an alibi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I apologize in advance if I mess up anything with StreamYard. This is new to me. I don't know what I'm doing. Maza had to help me before the show. So I appreciate everyone being here. There's a lot of places you could be on a Friday night, but because you're here to fight for Kelsey, I appreciate it. And I'm not gonna delay the show. We have some guests here already. So we will get right to it. This first guest doesn't need an introduction. He is the man that we all know and love. He is the fundraiser daddy. And as Nurse Kim coined him, also the wing king. Okay, so let's bring it out here for Maza Media.
What's going on? How you doing, Lauren? How's everything going tonight?
Good. Thanks to you. So,
Yes.
so thankful for you guys. This StreamYard is new to me. So thank you for your help. We are here. We made it and we're live. So it's good.
You got it. Tech support's
yes.
always available. I offer tech as a media, not only raises money for people and talks about justice, but I also do tech support as well. And I'm glad we got things going and we're ready to rock here tonight on our Friday night.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right.
You're welcome.
Well, we have another guest that's with us, and I'm going to bring her on right away because she has a another appearance after this at Court TV. She's going to do that, and then she's going to come back with us because I think she's going to have a lot of knowledge on the subject. Everyone, please welcome my friend Claudia King. She is a former law enforcement agent, and I think we are going to love to speak to her tonight. Let's everyone welcome her.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So I will go ahead and say, like, when I asked Claudia if she'd like to be on the show, she had barely heard of the case. She didn't know a whole lot about Kelsey's case. And I didn't feel the need to like fill her in. I was like, go look at it. If you want to be on the show, be on it. Because I already knew what she was going to think of the case. That's how confident I am in how things were mishandled and just the injustice that's going on here with Kelsey. And then sure enough, today she kind of was like, yeah, I'm really not liking this. So I know we have some new people here that maybe have not heard about the case. Maza, would you want to give them a little rundown, just a brief synopsis of the case for us in case they're new? And then I want to pick Claudia's mind about her expertise.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Lauren, so much. Claudia, nice to meet you as well.
You too.
I would say that this story is essentially, a relationship that was kind of ending. and it ended in shocking terms from Kelsey Fitzsimmons' perspective. Kelsey Fitzsimmons being a North Andover police officer, and essentially having a child with a gentleman, and eventually him deciding that he wanted to have a restraining order served on her. This ends up escalating from a restraining order being served into a much more volatile situation, far beyond what anyone could have ever expected. And they went in the home and wanted to take the child, a very young child, I might add, only a few months old, and eventually escorted Kelsey upstairs to collect some things for the child. One of the officers was eventually summoned downstairs, and a one-on-one situation proceeded between Kelsey and one of these officers. And at which point, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, who is going through postpartum depression at this time, who's now realizing that her fiance is turned the tables on her and their relationship, engaged. That's now ending. And essentially, her child's being taken away while going through postpartum depression, once again, as stated. And she proceeds to, upon her own telling of the story, pull out her firearm in her bedroom and turn the firearm on herself, at which point she is shot. The police tell a different story. They tell a story in which that she pulls out the firearm and turns it on the officer in an attempt to shoot, in which this officer fires 2 shots, one of them connecting and hitting her right in the chest. This situation now is well far beyond what it should have been, a typical dispute between a couple, and has now turned into not only a child being taken away, but now Kelsey Fitzsimmons being shot. This situation escalates even further because Kelsey eventually finds herself behind bars, and when she gets out, she's now unable to do a breathalyzer test known as a scram test. And due to the fact that they call an emergency hearing, Tim Bradle does, and they go in the courtroom before a judge who many argue at this point is now worse than Judge Beverly Cannoni in the Karen Reed trial, decides to revoke her being at home under house arrest. And now she's going back to Western Mass for roughly, I think it might have been 40, 50 days, until she recently got out just before Christmas. So that is really kind of, in a very simplified manner, the gist of what's happened here in this particular story. It's a classic he said, she said story, with the cops saying one thing and Kelsey saying another. And what stands out to me the most, just to summarize before I kick back to Lauren, is that they actually proceeded to have Kelsey move her around the home or have her walk around the home before attempting to seize any firearms that may have been in the house, and then would have prevented a potentially lethal situation from taking place, whether that was Kelsey, as they state, having shot someone, or Kelsey, as she states, having shot herself. But this is a wild set of circumstances, and I fully believe in Kelsey's story for one additional reason, is that the officer was overheard saying, "Kelsey, don't do it," instead of, "Kelsey, put down the gun now or I will have to shoot you." And I'll rest there, Lauren.
Yes, great. I mean, that's a great job. There's so many layers to this case, and it's complex, like the Karen Reed trial. There's so many different bits and pieces. So for those of you who are joining us and haven't heard of it, that's a brief synopsis of it. We're going to kind of get into more of the details here tonight. And before I do, we have another guest here who is here, and this lady is a awesome, badass private investigator. You may have known her or seen her for her work in the Delphi. She was on Richard Allen's defense team as their private investigator. So I will introduce you guys to Erica Morse. Welcome, welcome. How are you? Oh, I think you're muted.
It should be on the lower left-hand side, Erica, on the bottom. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're going to give her a minute then. All right. So while we are waiting on Erica, Claudia, I want to go ahead and just kind of give it to you because you are a former law enforcement agent. How is this look to you? Like, is this normal procedure? How would be, the normal protocol to go to a house where there is guns because she had just gotten her guns back because she was was approved to go and go back to the force. So they knew that guns were in the house. So take it away.
Yeah. So, like you said, they knew there were guns in the house, and theoretically, they think that she's dangerous. So, you would think that there would be extra protocols, extra procedures in place for the safety of everyone involved. So, the first thing that really bothers me about this is the choice of officers that went to her home that day. One of them, and I don't know if partner is the right word, but an officer who at some point she had become very close to because they had gone on a call together, a very traumatic call for both of them. And so they had become very close and bonded over that. That is the last person that should have walked into her house that day, to be honest with you. A lot of people say, oh, shouldn't you send somebody she knows? Isn't that going to disarm her? No, it's not. That is the last thing that you should do. And quite frankly, because this is a small department, they really should have called in an entirely different department to do it. Or I don't know, maybe the sheriff's office of the county should have been the ones to serve this. When I would go to homes and either serve paperwork like this or be involved in some type of child, I don't want to say takeaway, but when CPS was involved, let's say, I'm not grabbing the kid and like putting it in the back of my patrol car first and foremost. So if you think about it that way, you now have a couple different options. We can have CPS there to transport the child to the father, or you can do what would be super dumb and have the father there who's allegedly terrified of this woman and thinks she's a danger to the baby, but we would want him standing outside. So that doesn't make any sense at all. We're not even in the house yet, guys. Like, we haven't gotten even in the house with all these issues that we're already seeing. What disturbs me the most, though, Lauren, is the fact that I feel like Kelsey has been vilified. I feel that her position as a female in law enforcement is being used against her. She is attractive. I don't know her. She's probably pretty smart. And that dynamic right there makes her very threatening to the male officers in her department and in the area around her. So I just feel like they think that they can overpower her in this he said, she said, and that everybody's going to believe them because they're the cops and she's the crazy lady that had her kid taken away. And I think we all need to ask ourselves, how did things escalate to the point where Justin suddenly felt like he needed to get out of the house and get the child out of the house? There's always a piece of information that we don't know, right? That makes everything fit together, that makes it all make sense. And at some point, we're going to find out what that is. We don't know it yet, but there's going to be something that we find out at some point in this case that makes it all make sense as to why he did what he did. And I'm not saying in a way that makes it make sense that he did what he did and makes it right, but what was he doing? Because we a lot of times see domestic abuse, and I'm not saying there was abuse here. I don't know. But we do know that a lot of times abusers will use the court system against victims. So is there a reason that he decided to use the court system against her?
I mean, I think you're so spot on with everything you said. And it's really good to hear someone who is former law enforcement, who has had, instances that were similar to this, kind of back up what everyone has been screaming now. I think I speak for everyone that we kind of feel heard on that. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that have yet to come out, and there's allegations I say that loosely because, they're allegations. So allegedly, he was cheating. So wouldn't that be a different kind of dynamic on why he might try to get ahead of things? So take that for what you have it, but could be that. Erica, if your mic is fixed, I would love to hear just kind of your first take on the case as well. Maza, if you have any questions for the ladies, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
All right. Can you hear me now, Lauren?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. All right. Great. So I'm looking at this from a very different perspective, obviously, which is I have a problem with the timing of these lawsuits. We have females in this department who are alleging serious harassment by an individual in a position of power. Now we have this one of the female officers who has made this allegation and filed a suit, being pressured into dropping that suit. This incident reportedly occurs 3 days after these charges are dropped. We also have this insert of postpartum depression. I don't know the process that occurred here. I don't know if this was a work ordered question about postpartum that was I don't want to say set up, but designed to make her look like she was becoming unstable. Claudia made a great point about abusers using the system to go after victims. But what we don't talk about are police officers using the system to abuse victims as well. And I have a lot of experience. I have been a target of police retaliation. I have been falsely arrested for being a private investigator and journalist, working to expose corruption in the Delphi case and throughout Northwest Indiana. I know what it feels like to be a very sane and logical woman.
Yes.
And I know that's why you called me on this, Lauren, and I love you for including me because it really means a lot to me. But I know what it feels like to be a career-driven woman, also a mother, also a wife. And all of the sudden you find yourself under this haze of scrutiny. You find your face plastered all over the news, which also occurred with me. In my case, I was falsely arrested. A crime occurred when I was 90 miles away and surrounded by lawyers and national press inside the courtroom. And the crime scene expert who testified in that case was the cop in my house who initiated that false report against me. I fought for 8 months to clear my name. That's why when you brought me into this, I think I sent you the message. I said, I'm mad. It's like now I'm mad.
Yeah.
Because this is a pandemic of its own. Yeah. Claudia made such a valid point in saying that male counterparts are very threatened by females, especially strong females, intelligent females. We are compassionate. We are empathetic. We can sit down and have a conversation with a family or a victim and oftentimes get them to open up in ways that our male counterparts cannot. And that is often deemed a threat in our industry. Like we're seeking the next promotion or something. Yeah. When in reality, many of us would like to remain lateral. Many of us would like to remain exactly where we are because we are so good at what we do in these roles. We're not seeking this quick trip up the ladder to prove ourselves anymore. I'm sorry, but for women, that was very 2000s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been a senior manager. I've been a VP. Those days are behind me. I just want to go out and do good in the world now. And so to have all of these very questionable variables be a part of this case and a chief with 3 females and a department of 40 males. And now we have at least 2 of these women, 2 of the 3 having filed this lawsuit against the chief.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
That's how I feel, Lauren.
No, great points. And to answer your question, and Maza, you might want to go, further on this too. She was having postpartum. She wanted the help. She took some time off of work and to seek that help, because we know this is such a common thing. This is not a rarity, postpartum. It happens to so many women, and it is going to even get more, more prevalent as we go on. So she took that leave, from my understanding, and then she got cleared just like the day before or something, and they'd given her weapons back. So they obviously had cleared her, that she wasn't, any kind of a harm to anyone, and was very sane. So that's why it's interesting, as you said, the timing. Anyone feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I got, Erica, how do you feel about there being, obviously what's happened with the female officers that worked in North Andover? There's a lot going on there, but how about the lack of female police officers at a scene where RO's being served, and there's no female officer there to, I would say, at least mediate with Kelsey a calmer set of circumstances than what happened that day?
I agree that whether it be, well, and Claudia said it too, this really should have been outsourced to the SO. Her own department should have never served that, because opening the door, she probably didn't expect them to be there in an official capacity, because that's an automatic conflict of interest. When you see your coworkers at your door at night, you don't automatically think they're there to take me in. So I think we start there, Maza, with, first of all, the wrong people initiated the process of that warrant, serving that process. Number two, they should have had a social worker on that scene. That was the issue. And I'm tired of seeing all this funding come through for these social workers, and then being told by those social workers. See, I go to these victims advocates, I go to these social workers and ask them to meet with families of missing children, families of children whose remains have just been found. You know what I'm told often? That they are not available to meet with victims because they are actually on staff to be available for the cops.
Yeah.
Who are experiencing internal trauma, finding said remains. They're actually there to counsel the officers, not the victims.
Mm-hmm.
To that point, Erica, that has been my thing from the beginning, because I used to work at DCF. I don't know if you even know that.
I do.
And it is like Claudia was talking about, when a cop goes in, they're going in as the cop. They're not going in to take custody of that child. We have a care and custody letter that is from the judge, and we take possession of that child, and it would be somewhere else that it is turned over to whoever. If it was going to be Justin, if it was going to be, the grandmother, it would be at a different location. It is wholly inappropriate for Justin to be there, and for then him to get custody at that point. That is so wrong, and it defies everything.
Yeah, I've worked plenty of CPS cases, and that is not how that works. That's not how the removal of a child goes. The transfer of a child, the protocol was completely botched. And I guess I hesitate to ask, but is this a smaller town?
Yeah, I think it is smaller. I mean, it's somewhere near the Canton Dedham area, right? Maza's local.
No, it's more northbound. It's more north.
Okay.
Northern part of Massachusetts. Yeah.
So kind of maybe a good old boys mentality, so to speak.
That's very typical of police departments, and I'm not trying to throw any police department in Massachusetts under the rug, but I'd say a lot of those police departments are medium to small to medium towns outside of the cities that I would say are a close-knit unit. They all know their brethren very well, their fellow officers very well. So there is I'll say this. I had a friend that used to be a police officer at a police department in Massachusetts. I won't say which one. One of the things he told me was that they were all buddies growing up together. They all knew each other. So it's not rare to have a police department where some of those people, at least maybe 25 to 35% of those departments, are people that have known each other for a long time, probably even before they were cops, to be quite honest. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, in short.
Claudia, sorry.
No, please go ahead, please.
Claudia, question to you. So she had just gotten the okay and gotten her weapons back, that kind of thing. What does that tell you as a former law enforcement agent?
I mean, they didn't just hand them to her out of a drawer. There were procedures and protocols and checkoffs that had to happen for her to be cleared to get her weapon back and to say she was cleared for duty. So it's baffling to me how that happened. And then suddenly a judge will agree with somebody saying, she's a threat, she's terrible, I'm frightened, she's going to kill our kid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that brings into question, you know, why is one person able to go in front of a judge by themselves and just make statements, and suddenly we're showing up to her house and hauling a child away? And I understand it's a catch-22, because like there are some people that you do need to do that. But if we look at what she just went through, like you said, and the fact that she was just cleared, she had probably been seeing at least one psychiatrist, psychologist, some type of therapist, and had multiple sign-offs that she was okay. So I just think the way that it happened and he was able to go and take out this paperwork so easily signals a problem. And I just want to speak quickly on kind of the Good Old Boys network that you guys mentioned. So I've worked in a department that had 550 officers, and I've worked in a department that had 14 officers, and there was corruption in both. It doesn't matter the size. You know, when you are working as a female in a male dominated field, and I promise you, I'm not that woman that's like, I hate men. I really don't. I think you guys are amazing. But
Thank you.
when we invade in that male dominated space, some men are very threatened and they do not like it. And so anything they can do to take us down 7 notches is what they do. And that can be through harassment techniques. It can be through, you know, techniques of physical or verbal abuse. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that they do it. And generally speaking, it gets swept under the rug. And I have been, you know, just like Erica said, she has been the victim of certain things based on her profession. Girl, me too. And it's frustrating when the people who are supposed to be the protectors, they're supposed to be better than everybody else, are the worst of the worst.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I'll throw in a little extra to that thing where she had just gotten her weapons back and cleared, so she had to go in to take her CPR recertification the day prior as well. So there's video of this. She brought the baby into that police station, took the class, passed all of that. That video is nowhere to be found. So why wouldn't it be interesting if she came in and was in great spirits? Everything seemed normal. Everyone, you know, saw the baby, and she was a doting mom, you know, and now that video is gone. Just magically.
Why is it that in these Massachusetts smaller police departments, video is constantly mysteriously disappearing? They need some tech help, guys. They clearly need some tech help, because this is happening way too often. I've never had such tech issues.
Claudia, in the Delphi case, 70 days of initial suspect interviews magically disappeared, as did any summary reports and narratives of these interviews. And magically, the only videos they had left were the guy that they plucked out of a filing cabinet 8 years later. And that was allowed to fly in a courtroom. I kid you not.
It's absolutely unconscionable.
Yes. And then my other question, going into this very tense situation, where the hell were the body cams?
Well, that's another story. So, Maudlin, do you want to tell us why?
That was my next subject matter. I was going to ask both of you. Do you agree or not that body cams should be implemented and mandated nationwide at every level of law enforcement, not only for the protection of society, but for the protection of the officers as well? As we know, there's good cops and there's bad citizens, but there's also bad
Yes.
cops and good citizens, and they can intermix from time to time. So it protects everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I
and
don't even mind having it as a PI. I mean, Lauren, I don't know about you, but if I'm in the field, and again, another aspect of it, female PIs are often harassed in the field. What are you doing here? What, we get the police called on us a lot more than male, our male counterparts. So I'm actually in favor of female, of PIs wearing body cams in the field, because we are also called to testify as those very same experts as to the credibility of how we obtain the information. Was it legal? Was it, within protocol? So I have no problem with that, and I want it. I want it.
Yeah,
I
it
totally
protects everyone,
agree.
like-
I think if you are a good police officer with strong morals and ethics and integrity, you will want that, because just like you said, it will clear you just as quickly as it could sink you, because you get people claiming, oh, this, that, and the other happened. Oh, no, it's all on my body cam. So I think if you have a problem with body cams as a police officer, something's
That's a
wrong.
problem.
That's
Yeah.
the problem right there. Absolutely.
And this is a great point. I misspoke. So the CPR training that she had to recertify for was the same day that she was served. So how much even more important would that video be?
Critical, because it goes to
Absolutely.
her state of mind within that 24-hour range.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yep.
no
So they
wonder.
had to get rid of it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it had to get
Exactly.
deleted accidentally, of course.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the way it always goes. Just like, you guys are obviously all familiar with the Karen Reed case and what happened there. It was a situation where there was no Ring footage, no Ring doorbell footage anywhere in the neighborhood, which is extremely rare this day and age. I mean, probably over 50% of houses have them, and there's no Ring footage. But if there was Ring footage, it would have told you right then and there what exactly went on at 34 Fairview. It's a similar circumstance here with what happened with Kelsey. Body cam footage would tell you everything that happened. If that officer overreacted, I mean, like, look, she doesn't deny that she pulled out a firearm. She does not deny that she turned the firearm on herself. But what's obvious here is that 2 shots were fired, and when they were fired, it was by that officer. And I just the fact that they gave an explanation that the firearm jammed, the time it would have taken to try to realize what was going on, assess it. I mean, that could be 5 to 20 seconds or more, for goodness sakes. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me when, her firearm, jammed, when he could have just maybe taken a couple steps across the room and put her on the ground or restrained her, or if he had a taser gun or pepper spray, use that in that particular set of circumstances. Why just, I don't know. A lot of it just does not make sense. And when it doesn't make sense to me and things don't really line up, that's why it's so easy for me to believe that the story we're being told, not by Kelsey, but from the officers, is not exactly what happened.
Claudia, you want to speak to that as far as de-escalation goes?
I would love to. So first off, one of the first questions that you're going to ask in a situation like that is, do you have any weapons in the home? Now, they already knew that there were weapons in the home. So thus, the first thing that you want to do, really, even before you tell her the terrible thing that's happening, is you want to identify the location of all those weapons and secure them and secure her away from them. So like this, we went through all the stuff they did wrong before they even knocked on the door or rang the doorbell. So now we're into the things that they started doing wrong once inside. So had they done that correctly, we wouldn't even be sitting here today, theoretically, because her weapons would have been secured.
That's right.
But as far as the de-escalation, I mean, I will say, if theoretically, she grabs her weapon and starts to pull it forward, and I'm not saying this is what happened, guys, but I'm saying if she starts to point it forward, you are asking police officers to make a split-second decision that is life or death, and that is hard to do. But there were 3 officers, and then suddenly it was one-on-one when this occurred. Is that correct? So
One-on-one.
I think he was the only one that went up.
There were 2 officers. Then one of them got summoned downstairs, and then it was a one-on-one isolated situation. Yeah.
So that makes no sense, because if you were concerned, so let's say you suddenly realized that you oopsied and you didn't ask her where her guns were. So you could have those 2 officers there, and you could have one, ready at the firearm and one at the taser. Like, you have options. I don't know the makeup of the house, but before they even stepped in that room, that those officers should have been thinking about cover and concealment. So if something does go wrong, where can I move to get out of the way? Like, it doesn't always have to be, I'm going to pull my firearm and shoot immediately. I'm not going to, say people are wrong in certain situations when they do that, but there just seems like there were so many other options in this particular situation that could have been done. They could have backed out of that room. They could have secured the weapons to begin with. Yes, Justin should not have been there hanging around to take the bait. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, I mean, that's comical that they would even let him be in the block around the house.
Yes.
So, I mean, I could yell about this for a really long time. I'm going to shut up now.
I don't know if any of you had dove into the layout of the house at all, but that's also another little dynamic of this case, is the fact that upstairs there's 2 rooms. So there's Kelsey's room and there's the baby's room. There was no doors on either of them. They hadn't put them on yet, or they just didn't really need them because it was only the bedrooms. So there's no closet door, there's no anything. And in Noonan's statement, he states that Kelsey jumps or goes behind the bedroom door and then comes back out with the weapon. But there is no door.
So the bedroom door that doesn't exist.
The magical mystery door. Yes.
Right. Yeah. In the photographs of the house, you can, that everyone was pointing this out. There's literally no doors. Now, Claudia, there's one thing I wanted to bring up, because I wanted to let's get your take on this whole thing. Going back to the firearms search, they claimed in one of the documents that they had asked her where the firearm was, not singular firearm was. She told them it was in the basement. Now, why didn't they just go down there first? And if they did, they would have noticed that firearm wasn't in that place, because they later claim that she lied about the location when it was really upstairs and not in the basement. It amazes me why they would ask her, and to your point, not first search the home, physically go down to the basement, locate the firearm, which, they would have been, okay, great, here it is. Okay, now we've got that. Now let's move her about the house. They don't do that. So if they did go down there, why are they later claiming that she lied? If she lied, then shouldn't there be a confrontation about that, Kelsey? They come back upstairs. Kelsey, hypothetically, it's not downstairs like you said. Is it? Do we just not see it? Is it down there, or is it someplace else? Are you lying to us? And that should have been what takes place before they move her around the home, instead of, like we've said, going upstairs. But they later say she lied about it. But the onus is not on her.
No,
it's on them. Right.
It's on them acting in their official capacity as police officers, and also the +1 rule. So for those not in law enforcement, the +1 rule is however many weapons there are in a situation, you always add at least 1, because people have more. So no cops at their house have 1 weapon, their duty weapon. Give me a break. Everybody's got multiple guns, and they got, their other, their ankle holster gun, and they've got their purse gun. And, like, I've got 4 in my bedroom right now. So that's another thing, is for, if they did ask, yes, they should have secured it right away. And they should assume always that there's more than 1 weapon present. Yeah. And so they should have dug even deeper to determine where are all the weapons, and let's gather them up and get them away from you and unload them and all that stuff before we do anything else.
Right.
I have a quick timeline question. I don't know if Matza can answer it or not, regarding the drawing of the weapons. Do you know if the 3 officers had their weapons drawn at the time she pulled her firearm out on her? Do we know which occurred first?
My understanding is it was a one-on-one situation between her and the officer. It's my understanding that this has been my take on the whole thing, is that she pulled the firearm out and then he immediately reacted. And I think she drew it, and then the officer instinctively, kind of like an Old West shootout where it's a one-on-one, like they, draw, kind of like, as soon as somebody draws, there's a reaction moment. It's kind of like that in this situation. It's kind of similar to the Old West, right? A showdown where she pulls the firearm. My guess is that he reacts. My personal theory is I think exactly what she said. She was, due to postpartum, was suicidal. She draws the weapon. She goes to put it to her own head. Whether or not she would have really pulled the trigger or not, I don't know. It could have been like you see sometimes where people have an emotional reaction. Postpartum obviously is going to send that through the roof. We don't know if she would have actually pulled the trigger, but then it's my understanding that he reacts. I think that he overreacted. I'm not going to use the word, maybe I've used the word in the past, panic, but it might have been an instinctual reaction where he sees her draw it, and then all of a sudden he just, he might have already had his hand on his sidearm for all we know, and then 2 shots are fired. It's believed that the first shot actually connected and the second shot missed, though it is debated whether one shot missed, one shot connected. It's debated as to which shot actually hit and didn't connect, in which order. But there's a lot of people that think that he fired 2, and 2 shots would indicate to me, especially one of them missing, that there's a rush shooting there. Usually if you line up a target in a shooting range, you can take your time, line up back-to-back shots, pretty much hit your target, no problem. A missed shot tells me that there's a reaction to what she was doing, and one of those connected, one of those missed, because he thought she was drawing the weapon on him. And I think what happened is that the officers came upstairs, guns drawn, they saw her on the ground shot, and he said, "What happened?" And he probably told them the truth initially. And they said, "Oh my God, we're screwed now if this gets out. We need to tighten the story up a little bit. And why don't we just say she didn't draw the gun on herself, she drew it on you," or just make that claim. And I think that's how that story was born.
I would agree, most likely that's probably very accurate. And, let's talk about the psychological aspect of this for a second. And I mentioned it earlier. How could these officers have been expected to perform their duties in a professional capacity when they had an emotional attachment to the subject?
Yeah.
Right.
You can't. That's specifically why I asked the question about the timeline.
Yeah.
Because I know, so I was swatted a couple years ago. I opened the door on a Friday night, 12 officers pointing guns at me. And I've never been more terrified in my life. I mean, it's a scary, scary moment. Yeah. I deal with, like Lauren does, I deal with police officers every day on the end of, "Hey, it's Erica, I'm over here now," And so the police in my job, in my field, are my friends. They're my colleagues. And so when you open the door and you see your colleagues, so to speak, standing there pointing weapons at you, well, then you escalate that to guys you've had a beer with, maybe guys whose wives attended your baby shower recently, guys who, you ride with, guys who have had your back when a suspect has shot at you, and vice versa. This was escalated to a completely different level of emotional engagement that should have never been allowed. Because, I mean, you nailed it, Matza. If he missed that second shot, it wasn't because he was a bad shot all of a sudden. Right. It was because he was shooting at one of his friends.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's a fantastic point. I don't know if it was the first or second miss, but either way, something's off with that. And I think that's a good point that Mazza brought up.
Yeah. Yes. It indicates a reactionary situation. And it doesn't really matter which one hit or missed in what order, because ultimately one did. And that tells me that, because again, they're not more than 10 feet away from each other. I mean,
correct.
I mean, these officers, I believe this officer had military training as well. Military training is the best training you're going to get when it comes to weapons. Not only in the world. I mean, if you're in the military, you're going to get the best training in the world. He's obviously very well trained, obviously trained as a police officer too. it's very unlikely if he ever walked into a shooting range in his life that he ever missed 2 shots in a row or any shots on a target from a short range, let alone distance. But when you're talking 10 feet roughly or less, that's not that far. But that, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that he would miss unless it was a rush set of circumstances.
Or if your adrenaline is pumping so much, Matza,
yeah,
your hand is shaking
prior to any escalation of the situation. Now let's expand upon that, Eric, because I think this is a nice conversational transition here. Is that both her and this officer, I don't like to name the names. I don't like to say the names. I kind of always say them. I don't like to say their names out loud. They had been through a pretty heavy situation together at a previous time. I can't remember the timeline right now. It's vague in my head tonight for some reason, but they had a stressful situation where they were in a home, and there was a lot of basically it's a PTSD inducing scenario basically that they were involved in. And, there's also that, there's a connection, officers bond, but at the same particular time, there was a lot going on there. And, that affects you, one way or another. If you're a soldier, military, I mean, even medical emergency professionals, they see all kinds of stuff rolling in the doors in the ER. It's not an easy situation, but who knows if that played a factor in all
of course it did. It had to.
Yeah.
The triggers, the trauma. I'm going to tell you something. We are dang lucky no one went out of there in a body bag.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the surgeons that performed, the stuff, and God, Kelsey wouldn't be alive today. She spent 53 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's why, the severity of this. And then Erica, this is something too. Justin, the, ex-fiance guy, he was a first responder as a firefighter, but did he run upstairs to maybe try to help? They had just broken up. No, he didn't. He ran out of the house. So there's so much that is wrong with this. Just one
Feels
second,
like
everyone.
Indiana all over again, girls.
Yes, it does. We have a total of 400 that has already come in for Kelsey. Thank you to everyone. Please, if you can give, I know times are tough, but even just a little small amount, $5, $10 really adds up. And if everyone donates something small, it adds up to something very big. She has so many lawyers now that she's having to pay, not only in the criminal, but in the, law. I mean, in the family court.
Or family court.
So yes. And so everything really, really, really adds up. There is a popcorn link that is pinned in the description for Pop and Popcorn. If you like popcorn, if you like cookies, if you like flowers, if you like anything, this place has got it. And half of the proceeds go to Kelsey's defense fund and her healing journey. And it's really good stuff. It's not like crap. It's really, really good stuff. And so check it out. There's pretty much anything you could think of on there. They have it. And so that's a great way to donate. Then there's her defense link. She has a Wishful and an Amazon wish list too. So that's all pinned in the description, and keep those funds coming in. That's, we can only do so much, which is use our voices and try to raise funds. And Maza has been such a leader in that movement of raising these funds. And it's so important for us to, try and do our part too when we're passionate about a case. And I think we're all just very passionate about this. Everyone here watching is obviously passionate, and the new people coming in learning about it, it's real easy to get hooked because there's so many layers to this case and a lot of injustice.
Matza, if you could, if I can get those links, I don't know if you're extending this a little bit longer, but my whole audience over at the Delphi Dirt, that they are there for the police corruption conversation. So I think that we definitely would have some people from my audience and my followers who would, kick in on this and support this, and also help expand the conversation, because yes, it's important to help get her funding. And I get that as someone who's fought, in my terms, a wrongful arrest, a false arrest, but just to be able, she's probably never going to serve again. This is over for her. Her career's over. What's the pension situation? We don't know how this is going to end up. Her marriage is apart, or her relationship is gone. She's got to fight to get her child back. She's going to have to work a service plan for up to 2 years. This is just compounding in terms of her financial expectations, or responsibilities. And so, yeah, if we can keep that going a little bit longer, definitely I'd love to share that with my people too.
You're asking for all of the links that we're sharing tonight in an email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
I can message them to you afterwards too.
Oh yeah, that's right, Lauren.
Perfect.
You have them all. Yeah, you're good to go. Perfect. That'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
would be amazing. Thank you.
And just to the chat, everyone tuning in tonight, like Lauren said, if you're not able to donate, or even if you are, if you can share this video, share these links, post them to your Twitters, your Facebooks, your YouTubes, any social media. I don't know much about TikTok, but any form of social media out there where you can amplify this video tonight. Just because we are pushing for the $70,000 range for Kelsey tonight. She's, as of the last check, her GiveSendGo total is $69,536, and the Facebook group is hoping to get her to $70,000 through this show tonight. We're doing amazing right now, $400 in less than an hour raise for Kelsey. And every fundraiser we do, where we bring in more money, it's just putting Kelsey in a better position. It's like when you play at the casino poker, the more chips you got, the better position you are to win, right? It's the same thing here with this. The more money she has, the more she can afford attorneys, experts, if needed, or maybe even an extra expert if needed. It helps her out a lot. Also helps her out medically. She is recovering. She's looked the strongest physically that we've seen in months since we've seen her on camera. She's definitely, at this point now, Kelsey's starting to get, like I said, she's out of jail. She's getting healthier. Things are going up for her as we descend upon a trial, which is roughly about 2 months away. And I'm expecting great things out of her defense team, Tim Bradle, Martha Coakley, former Attorney General, paralegals like Courtney Healy that are doing a great job and giving her everything she needs to fight this fight. And Kelsey believes, just like Karen Reed believed, in her innocence and believing that she'll win in the end. I believe she will win in the end as well. But as everybody knows, we're a great community, and raising money, it just puts her in an awesome position. And I want to thank everybody for donating, whether if you already donated, this past weekend or tonight or any other time or even in the future. I want to thank you guys for that, and because you're sowing your money into justice, and I believe you reap what you sow, which means that you're sowing good into society. You're helping people in a situation where they need your help. And my thoughts are that we'll always be there for each other as well, to help one another. So I think it's a great community of people helping out, very giving folks. And like I said, there's popcorn too. The popcorn's fantastic, so go for it. The recommendation for me, strawberry shortcake and the cinnamon toast. It's rare. I always go with the rare popcorns in these kinds of stores. I get butter at the store all the time. So I'm like, let me get the strawberry shortcake. Let me get the cinnamon toast.
Have you gotten yours in yet from this round of popcorn?
I haven't ordered yet. I gave my donation through the GiveSendGo this week, so I haven't put my popcorn donation in just yet. So I might be sending it.
Hasn't come in, so
yeah.
I was wondering if you'd tried them.
No, I know some people have got it already. I might be sending it to other people because I'm not going to eat it all myself. But I'm just waiting on maybe what they want for orders, and I'll ship it out to them too. So, but I'm gonna get some for myself.
I'm just excited there's like a fundraiser that includes snacks. So
right.
So what a great concept. My marketing and promotions mind is giddy right now.
Yes, but this Allison is the one who started up this popcorn thing, and I think it goes through February 2nd. And it was a fantastic idea because you get something, but half of it goes, and it's something you can give away for Valentine's Day, birthdays, anything. And there's something on there for everyone.
That's awesome. Now, Matza, sorry, I called you.
That's okay.
I had them on the brain, and
I have many nicknames. Too. They can call me Mozzarella. They call me the Chicken Wing King. They have all many nicknames for me. Some people call me Mazda, like I'm a motor vehicle.
But Lauren, that reminds me. We can ask them as well if they wouldn't mind sharing those links with their people and seeing, if we can get, that kind of support as well. But Matza, do you intend to attend the trial?
Yes. Yes,
can you talk to me about kind of that sphere? Because I don't know is this your first time attending something like that, or no. Okay,
I
you
attended the
got it.
Karen Reed trial.
Oh.
Not the first trial, not the second trial. I didn't make it to the second trial, but I was there for the first one. And
So yours was October. Your trial, that Karen Reed trial, went on at the exact time that our 40-day trial was going on in Delphi, Indiana. So I didn't see a single day of it.
wow. Oh wow, yeah. I went to the one.
Runkle
I think it
is
was
here.
June.
I just want to.
Oh, Runkle. Yeah.
Sorry, Runkle's in the chat, and if so, Runkle, thank you so much for joining us. Runkle is also an amazing advocate, just like Maza is, and the fundraiser king also. So Runkle does amazing fundraisers that are like 24 hours for kids with cancer, like once a year. He's an incredible advocate. And these are the type of people that we have in the community. So like very caring, giving people. So thank you for being here, Runkle.
Love Runkle. He's great. He's awesome. He's fantastic. I like when the attorneys are all talking about these cases, because it if they're interested in it, it just tells a bigger picture for me that this is something, especially when you hear attorneys going on their programming. And, we've heard this from Melanie Little, Mark Betterow, the whole nine, lawyer, Andrea Burkhart, Runkle. When they say like something's wrong here, it's like, yes, it's like there is something wrong here, but here are attorneys actually validating what us, the people that are not attorneys, are saying. And there's just so much like the judges too, like Judge Naaman McCarthy, just the way she conducted herself was an atrocity. And when you hear this backed up by attorneys that they're also saying, yeah, something's wrong here, it's like, okay, good. It's just not me sitting at my home being a fair weather fan for Kelsey or Karen, when attorneys, living, breathing attorneys, are actually saying this judge is not conducting things normally.
Okay, so I got to interject here for just a second, because that's my girl right there. So, boy, if you've got a voice in Andrea on this one, then thank the Lord and baby Jesus. That's all I can say. First of all, I don't know if you've experienced this. Not only will Andrea sit right behind you in the courtroom for every single day and cheer this on for justice, but and call out the judges at night for their behavior and their questionable decisions, but she will also go so far as to file motions during the trial. Wow. Andrea filed motion after motion during our trial in Delphi. She was there with us the whole 41 days. She got there like 2 weeks early and stayed 2 weeks late. I'm telling you, not all heroes wear capes.
Yes, she is
Andrea.
Great people.
Oh my God, her and Lawyer Lee. But she'll actually go in if she starts to see this pattern during trial and advocate in that sense, where she'll start filing on behalf of the citizens of the state. So I'm super excited to hear that you have her voice included in this. There's honestly no one in the legal field I respect more than that woman. So I'm excited to check out her coverage of it, because she brings such a rare perspective to it.
I don't know that she's covered anything about this one yet. Have you, Maza?
No,
okay.
I haven't heard anything yet from her. I'll have to check.
I'll call her and ask her to cover it.
Exactly.
Seriously, I'll ask her to cover it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
This case hasn't gotten as much traction as it should, in my opinion. I think because she's not charged with murder, even though that's what they wanted to try, to convict her of and try her of. The grand jury said no. So, I think if we can get any eyes on this, it's a big deal, and it's a big deal for a lot of reasons, because there's a lot of wrong going on. Even just the misuse of the court system by Justin, trying to get that baby taken away for his own benefit to kind of cover his butt. So, there's a lot to, a lot to this case. And so, yeah, if we can get eyes on it like that, that would be amazing.
Hey, let me ask you, Lauren, has anybody said the word out loud, potential collusion? Like, I'm sorry, but having a firefighter, having a first responder who is so terrified that he files a restraining order application, but is so unafraid that he's standing there with his alleged abuser when the door knock comes in and she's got the baby. Like, listen, again, is like what Claudia was saying earlier. If people understood how often the court system is used to silence victims, they don't get it. This is not just a network oftentimes of police. It's a network of police and first responders and judges and court clerks who are not elected officials, by the way. Justin isn't even looking after the baby. He's, oh my God. See?
Yeah, he's a real winner. Real
This
winner.
More like a pawn or a weapon than a coveted and loved child. And I hate that.
Yeah. I think the last time we talked about this, there was a lot of good comments saying basically his hate for Kelsey is stronger than his love for the baby. And that's disgusting. You know, there's people who see their children every day in child protective custody, who some would argue maybe shouldn't deserve it. And this lady hasn't done anything. Literally, it's his word against her word, and she will not have her day in the family court to have her side of the story come out until August. So she hasn't seen her baby since he was taken, and now she has to wait to go in front of a judge to tell her side of the story till August. I mean, this is despicable stuff.
Well, and oh, by the way, what that does for her postpartum depression.
Right.
I mean, talk about re-victimizing the victim and ensuring that she stays in an, I don't want to say unstable, because that's such an unfair word for postpartum, that she stays in an imbalanced hormonal state. How's that?
Yes. Yep.
You know, when you take away, for those who have, aren't parents, especially with that new mom, there is a physical bond. Like, that's why I'm like pointing towards my stomach. There is a physical bond that pulls us towards our babies. And when our babies are taken out of our arms for any reason, my God, that right there is enough to make a mother end it all.
Yeah.
207 days. I would lose my mind, Mama.
Yes.
I would lose my mind. I really would.
Then
Yes.
to be
That's-
placed in, shot and placed in jail on top of all of this, it's an absolutely, I mean, short of being shot and killed, I mean, it's about one of the worst situations you could ever face as a human being, especially as a mother. You don't see your child, you've been shot, you're in jail. Even when you do get out of jail, you got, an ankle monitor, you're under house arrest, you still got a trial coming up to prove your innocence, all before, there's even a shot of even getting the child back or battling for custody. This thing just is so outrageous. That's why I place the highest level of criticism, not on her fiance, but on the police, because at the end of the day, whatever happened between those two was going to happen one way or the other. Obviously it was, but it should have never been anything worse than that fight between the two of them. And she should have never been shot. It should have never come down to this. It should have been if they were going to end up removing the child, okay, I get it. That's what happened, but then Kelsey would be able to fight for her child back through a legal means. But unfortunately, this thing escalated far beyond that. Shot, she goes to jail. She's fighting for her innocence here, obviously. And that's really where I blame the police so heavily, because it should just be a battle between a couple that has a conflict over a child.
Yeah, and they
Correct.
quite literally put the guns in her hand. All they had to do was their job. Go secure the weapons. That is, there's a weapon, at least one weapon. Why isn't it secured? Go do your job. By them not doing their job, she was able to get the weapon pointed at herself, and the cop did what he did. They quite literally put that gun in her hand.
Which may have been the plan.
Very
I know.
well.
I mean, you wonder. Would he have known where she keeps her firearms at night? Would he have tipped off the police department?
Yes.
Would they not? But if that's the case, then thinking about the officer that was in the bedroom one-on-one, if that was the diabolical plot all along, then talk about leaving an officer out to dry. That's the
That's a great
equivalent
point,
of
Maza.
that's equivalent of a bunch of corrupt cops. Like, there was a scene in the movie Training Day. Denzel Washington was the corrupt cop. It was a group of corrupt cops. They wanted Ethan Hawke, who was the rookie cop on his training day, the rookie detective, to basically shoot a guy with a shotgun. And then the plan was once he did that, to basically let him go down as the patsy so they could get rid of their enemy. And then they'd have their patsy, who was Ethan Hawke. That if that's true, if that's what the plan was, then I would have to suggest a theory that the officer that was the one that opened fire was a patsy. If that is a situation that, because you'd have to, because why would he have been left alone if that was their plan? Because if they really wanted to do something like that, they really wanted to say, put her down, they would have ensured that none of the fellow officers all the fellow officers were in the least amount of danger possible. And if they took her down as swiftly as possible. But that one-on-one situation, if that scenario is in play here, and is what really happened, then I'd have to suggest her fellow officer that shot her was basically, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And Kelsey's been so gracious. She has never said a bad word about her ex-partner. But people looking on this case, you have to wonder, you have to question things. And I know for myself, I can't wait to see the text messages of the officers, the text messages of Justin that day, because, he's a firefighter. The firefighter knows the police officers. They work hand in hand a lot. So, what was said in those text messages. There's so much that is going to come out in this trial. I think that it's going to blow people away.
Yeah.
Well, I find this angle very fascinating because you mentioned earlier, Matza, about their shared experience with the post-traumatic stress. Yeah. This would have been, and listen, I've been working on a situation for years involving a very suspicious death of a narcotics officer and others who have been, he allegedly unalived himself, but he allegedly did it in the back of the head. And we got lots of problems with that case in Indiana. And it was Officer Rob Grant in Michigan City, Indiana. Anyway, there are signs in what we're saying here and what we're talking about that could indicate that he was intentionally left alone in that room, intentionally left alone to be triggered, intentionally left alone for the two of them to engage in fire, and for this thing to have made itself go away.
Yeah.
Well, and to take it further, I can't pull it up because I don't know how. But
you want to share a link? I can text support it right now. Do we need to pull a link up or a page up? I can help you.
Oh my God, girl!
Justin's affidavit that he filed, the cryptic shit that was in that, is enough to make anyone going in that house fearful and a lot. Well, just not even fearful, but like on edge. And it was done on purpose. So I have a lot of questions about
is that then the document that was used to determine by the judge these 10 alleged things that were identified that made her a danger to herself and everyone else?
I personally don't know because we didn't see it. It was an emergency.
That's because it's in family court, which is the whole plan.
Yeah. We didn't see it. So we don't know. I mean, there are a couple things. I know that there was an affidavit that had him in it. One of her friends who was, with friends like that, you don't need enemies. Somebody that probably had their own interest at heart, because she got drunk at her bachelorette party and was allegedly pissed off about some alleged things that will come out.
Yeah, nobody gets drunk at a bachelor party and happens to get angry when they're drunk. Actually, Kelsey's the first person that's ever gotten drunk and angry at a bachelor party in the history of bachelor parties. It's unbelievable. It's amazing how that just happened. It just happened to be her. Nobody else in the history of mankind.
Yeah, I'm sure Justin wasn't drunk. No, sober. Come on.
Yeah,
ridiculous. That's another layer to this. Now she has this ankle monitor. And also just those that are in the chat, Nurse Kim is coming. She is late. She had a flight and it's been a day. So she's just needing a little time. She's going to come in and also she will help explain the severity of like the injuries that Kelsey has sustained, which will be great. But yeah, she now has to blow into this device because why? We don't really know, because the night of the incident, there was no alcohol.
Right.
Nothing.
This makes no sense. This makes no sense to me. And why then do you further damage someone's internal organs while they are healing. If you've ever witnessed someone, I used to work in a shelter system, and I had clients that had screams. And so they had to several times a day blow into the scram, and then it would register those readings and it would report back automatically to probation. We're talking like,
Yes.
I mean, you are like, it's really painful just for a normal person to do. I cannot imagine trying to accomplish that with a collapsed lung. And all the
And
other
I don't know that you've heard the audio, because not a whole lot of people have, because it was also hidden. Melanie Little had to pay to get the audio, just the audio. But I've never in my life, I haven't experienced Gull, because nobody has unless you were in the courtroom. But I can only imagine it's like her sister or something, like the nastiness of this judge, the audacity, like for them to just ask for a different way of alcohol testing due to her injuries.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting.
I haven't heard the recording, but I read the transcript of that. And here's what I'll say to this. Okay, first of all, Matza, you have to push like you have never pushed before for cameras in that courtroom. Every single one of you press. Like, I want to see the same dang effort that we saw out of Court TV, out of Law and Crime, out of NBC News, out of Associated Press, all these same orgs who fought so hard for us to get cameras in the Delphi courtroom. I want this same strength in numbers and effort, the collective effort to get cameras in this courtroom, because we've learned things, Lauren. We've learned things on how to approach this over the last few years. Like, now I'm mad because I'm going to end up running out and getting my Massachusetts license so we can assist on this defense. I think you and I are going to end up volunteering our dang services as consultants on this, because this is ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but it takes investigators who understand police corruption. You have to tackle this on a completely different level of confidentiality.
And
completely.
To go to your point, when people heard the audio of the judge, the transcript is mild. It was the tone, it was the tenor, it was everything. When people heard that, it felt personal. My first thought was, who's she connected to in this case? Who's she related to? Who has she done business with? Something. Like, it wasn't normal. And so that is another aspect of that Kelsey, may need a private investigator. Those are expensive. So that is another thing that these funds can go to. It's so important that she have, as much backing by the public that is possible, so that she can hire the people, the experts in her trial, so that she can prove her freedom, because they are coming for her. It's a pile on. And if we can get our voices out there and put in, $5, $10 when we can for fundraisers, it means a lot and it adds up. So please, if you're able to, please donate to Kelsey.
We're closing in on $500. We're at $485 on the evening. Yep.
How does that go? How close are we to the
70?
The 70K?
We're $69,621. So we're at 621 past so we're at 300.
We can do it.
$379 maybe away, $379 away. Yep.
All right, that's our new goal. We got to get to that 70K tonight, guys. I think we can do it. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. Like, we have the best community, like, so generous, and when they see corruption, they want to do something about it. And that's one of the things we can do and we can help with is, putting our money where our mouth is to help support someone who we feel strongly is being treated and done wrong by our system. So, Erica, what would be some ways that you would go about looking at the judge and seeing her connection?
I love you. Okay, so the first thing I would do, and it's funny because I actually just did this yesterday. Because I don't know if you'd heard, but totally different subject, but Gull's daughter is actually running to take her seat.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I literally just spent the last 24 hours doing this to find out why.
Gotcha. Okay.
Depending on the Massachusetts system, I've never dealt with that state in terms of an investigation from any angle. So I don't know if they use the Odyssey system, if they have their own portal, whatever that might be, or if it's a county by county. I would go as deeply as I could into every case that judge has ever touched. I would look at a complete historical record, because like, say in Delphi, for instance, I ended up finding a connection between Judge Gull and someone dating all the way back to 2002. And yeah. So you have to go back and look at every case that this judge has ever touched. And then you have to look for the crossover. You have to look at, say, for instance, maybe Justin appeared in front of her for something 20 years ago, or maybe they sat on a board together or council together, or they helped write a law or a grant, or they worked on a nonprofit together. There are all of these different things that you have to look at from her history of the cases. Has he ever testified as an expert witness in one of her cases? What are her relationships with these 3 officers? You have all of this, and then you look at the external stuff. Have they ever sat on a board together? Have they ever worked on a foundation together? Have they ever done a Christmas party event together? Have they ever dated? Do they, is her husband in a foursome with one of these cops every Sunday? Are they on a bowling team or a darts team together? You have to pare down and literally peel back every aspect of someone's life, not just their career, but their personal relationships. You'll remember it came up in the Delphi case, Lauren, that our judge in that case, her granddaughter played softball with one of the victims. And yet somehow she was plucked from 4 counties away as a special judge in that case. So you have to go into, sometimes you have to dig as deep as their children and their grandchildren. You have to look at sporting affiliations and the poker clubs and pinochle clubs. It's everything, because you never know where that crosses over. And sometimes it may appear as a stranger's on the train, but it's really not.
That's what happened in the Karen Reed case. Was they found out Proctor had attended a wedding with some familiar faces in one of the camps there. They actually showed them on video. They're all dancing, having a good time together. When you find out a police officer is involved like that, that's very interesting. And that's, I think, what brings me back to the text messages between these officers. If they successfully get information that's there that shows that there were some text messages that were, even just people in their own free time on their own phones, whatever they can get, and it shows any level or hint of conspiracy. Because you look at Michael Proctor, and I hate to admit this, but it's true. If Michael Proctor never sent those texts, the Massachusetts State Police would have never got rid of them. Because they look at what happened to every other officer we've talked about. They're all still employed. They've been rehomed, but they're still employed. And Proctor would be too. So it's those text messages that have proven to be the most damning. The fundraiser link is pinned to the top of the chat, and it's also in the description. So the top of the chat and in the description. But the text messages, any kind of communications that are in writing, that if Tim Bradle and his defense team can get everything they need, and that information they get has the dirt that they need, that ends this whole. There's a simple text that says, "Man, I can't believe I shot her." It's okay, bro. It happens. We got this whole thing covered up. If there's a text message like that anywhere, game over, baby. Kelsey's walking out that door so quick.
And we know they haven't got all the discovery yet. So there's no telling what's in the discovery.
Right.
However,
Yeah.
It would be a massive mistake to rely only upon those text messages and not to have done a full forensic on that device, because you're also looking for WhatsApp. You're looking for Signal. You're looking for Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. and you have to have that physical device in order to grab the data from each one of those apps. So it's, as an investigator, I'm sitting here cringing going, we need all of it, because sometimes we find the answer actually hidden in a Signal message or a WhatsApp message, because they're more secure on within the communication range, that people often feel more comfortable not deleting those.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Let's
So our
hope that
total
they're
is
not.
a little over. Sorry, our total is a little
Go ahead,
over 5, Mazda.
Yeah, it's at 535, and we're about $329 away from hitting the
Okay.
70,000. Yeah.
We can do it. We can do it. There's
Yeah.
some great discussions going on in the chat. Thank you guys for being so proactive and interested in being here with us tonight. I know Kelsey and her family are watching. They appreciate all of this so much, and they're so grateful for this. Kelsey hasn't been able to speak. She's on trial. So
Yeah.
there will be a time, and it will be very powerful. But, until then, we can advocate for her. We can, take time out of our Friday evenings to join in a fundraiser like this. Mazda has set such a great example in doing
Thank
this.
you.
And all of you here are showing like so much love and compassion for Kelsey. And we're having all kinds of purple hearts in the chat for Kelsey. That's her color. So it's beautiful the way that communities can come together and support someone and get behind them. And I was thinking about this today. Justin, when he filed that, emergency RO and to get custody and all that stuff, he really thought he had the upper hand. And in some ways, he did take the upper hand in getting custody of the baby. However, he never in his wildest dreams imagined that there would be a community that came right behind and said, we see your BS and exactly what you're doing, and we're also going to speak up about it. So the fact that these fundraisers are going on, that there's amazing people like Law Girls Not Attorneys that go out to these court hearings, all the other Cheech was there, I think, and Purple. I mean, all of these great people coming there to these court dates wearing purple, supporting Kelsey in the courtroom. Justin couldn't have imagined that in his wildest dreams. And I am so happy because he thought he was, getting up on everything he could, but he didn't realize that we could see through the BS, and we are behind Kelsey and support her and believe her. So it's a big deal, and everyone should feel proud. And I know that the family really appreciates it.
It's like I said,
yes,
the Karen
Jess Machado was there as well. There was some amazing people in the community that were there to show support and to cover it. So hopefully that continues for Kelsey. I know it lifts her morale big time.
Oh, we just got a nice big donation. It's up to 69,741 right now.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are amazing. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are so generous. And it really does take a village. Like, it really does. There are so many things. She's going to need expert witnesses in trial. And Bradle's a great attorney, and he's expensive, and he's worth every penny, and then I believe the family court attorney she has is a good attorney as well. So she had to, Eric, I don't even know that you know this. She had to sell her home. Peg, I see you, and maybe Mazda can walk us through this, because I would like to do that. I would like to play the audio of the nastiness that was on that. If we can figure it out, then I'm all for it.
To track it down.
But
I don't know where it's available, but I guess I can try. If somebody has the link, they can email me at mazdamedia@yahoo.com, mazdamedia@yahoo.com. If someone mind tracking that down, I'll try to see if I can do it, but I just can't. I remember listening to it, but I can't remember where I heard it. That's the issue.
The only place I've heard it is on Melanie Little, and she had to order it from the court because it was so secret.
Okay.
But it's on her stream, I think. I don't know. But if we can get that in a way that we can, ethically do it or whatever, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
So that brings me to 2 quick questions. Mazda, is there a gag order in this case? And are there specific items that are under seal at this time?
I haven't heard any gag order yet. Not that I'm aware of. I've heard nothing about that because they're not on the attorneys. They're still speaking to the press and all that. So no.
Yeah. No
So
gag order, but
what-
it wouldn't surprise me because this is the type
Yeah,
of judge
if
this
it's-
is.
Then I'm
it's coming
trying to
in, yeah.
figure out why in the heck this audio is so difficult to obtain. Like, I'm starting to think we need to influx with FOIA requests because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it was just an emergency hearing to petition the court that she could have a different way of testing her alcohol because of the scram hurting, you know, and taking hours for her to do. She was being able to do it. She wasn't, you know, she was still in compliance, but it was hurting. It was
Painful.
hurting the healing. And it was like they came in there and asked the judge for something crazy. I mean, like, I've never in my life, these things happen every day in courts. Like it was such a routine hearing. And then basically at the end, she's like, well, I don't want to cause her unusual punishment and whatever. So throwing her back in jail. She was in jail for 100 days. If she is found guilty, she is only facing 5 years, and because of she has no criminal record, Emily will find she said she can find the audio and then play a reenactment. Very accurate.
Yeah. I know. We need to just use Emily's reenactment. That's sufficient. She always does a great job.
Yes. So we love Emily C here. So basically she was just like, well, I wouldn't want to do that to her. So she needs to go back in prison. So if she were to be convicted on what they have her charged with now, she would get 5 years maximum, and she would spend 0 in jail because of her record. It would be probation. And she's already done, I don't know how many, this latest stunt was 100 days in jail as a police officer, as someone who had just gotten done with all of her surgeries, who was healing in a gross environment, not sterile. I mean, she missed Thanksgiving. She hasn't seen her child. She missed her first, Thanksgiving and almost Christmas. She got out the day before Christmas, but she wasn't able to see her son. I mean, it's just appalling. Everything is just it's so messed up in this case. But she's still.
Yeah, deja vu all over again is what I'm
Yes.
hearing, and I'm angry.
Yes.
I'm tired of this corruption. I'm tired of the police narratives being manipulated in the media. I'm tired of victims and witnesses and whistleblowers, finding themselves behind bars for all the wrong reasons and fighting to keep their children. I have said this so many times, Lauren, this is a playbook.
Yeah.
And it is an antiquated playbook. I have to point this out. So that's why it's so important for you to shed light on a case out of Massachusetts while I'm shedding what I'm shedding light on in Indiana, and what others and our team have shed light on in Texas, and what you may be shedding light on over here in California. And TC, I don't know you. Save that for the Delphi Dirt, please. Don't come in here and try to derail what we're trying to do for Kelsey tonight by picking a fight with me about my other case. So please be respectful. That's what I ask. Thank you. But there is a pandemic, I said it earlier, of police corruption. We're not stupid. We know what's happening. More and more people are speaking out. More and more whistleblowers are coming forward because we're exhausted. People are exhausted with this system that is broken.
Yes, we are. We are absolutely exhausted. And the chat and the people donating are obviously still just over it too, because they're donating. We've got 625, which is amazing. You guys are so generous, and that goes a long way to help Kelsey in her journey for justice, because in my opinion, she's being railroaded, and it's gross.
Lauren, can we sorry to interject. Can we pop up that MA Lady 123 comment there where she says, at Mazda Media, can you ask Erica if she was hired as a PI for Kelsey's case, where would she start? What is the first thing that would alarm her to focus in on?
Yes.
Well, the first thing would be obtaining discovery and determining with the criminal defense attorneys what their trial strategy is. And I'm so glad you asked this question, because I'm actually intending to address it on my next episode, the Delphi Dirt, which is, there is a misconception by the public of what a PI's role is as a defense investigator. What we do in the field as a PI, an independent PI working for an agency, running a case, leading a case, is very different than what our role is on the back end of a criminal defense trial. Here's why. If we're out looking for a missing kid, or following a cheating spouse, or working on a workman's comp fraud case, then we have a specific checklist that we do. We want to catch them on film. We want to catch them doing something they're not, oh, thank you, Emily, not supposed to be, doing, that violates their medical instructions, things like that. When you are working on the back end of a PI situation inside the criminal defense realm, the investigators actually don't have a say in what is done. We are given directives. And the reason why is because if we make the wrong move, if we call the wrong potential witness, if we call someone who's off limits, and oftentimes PIs are told you can't talk to the witnesses, until a certain time, because it could be considered witness tampering, believe it or not. If we make even one wrong phone call, it can blow the entire defense strategy, everything that they've spent months and years working on. So we never make a move in that side of it without being told or asked by the trial lawyers. They set the trial strategy. They determine who the witnesses are. They determine which theories and angles are being chased and followed. And that is such a misconception. Somebody had made a comment online a few days ago that I didn't chase down a certain angle in the Delphi case. I wasn't told to. And if I had chased that down, people actually could have lost their lives. Wow. I was told to work over here, not to work on this, and then somebody who doesn't know anything about the case came and said, well, she didn't chase this, and look what happened. If you don't know how it works on the back end, it is very easy to blame the wrong people.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Plus, you don't
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Plus, I think one of the things that can happen a lot is, whether you're a private investigator or any kind of legal investigator, is you have to sometimes resist the urge to go with what's the most, with what sometimes seems like the most obvious situation that proves that someone did it.
Razor.
Right, exactly. Because you never know. So you have to kind of consider it, look at it, vet it, then also consider other scenarios as well. So being a PI is probably no joke at all in terms of having to have a mind that kind of can, seek different alternatives, seek various viewpoints, and then quantify information to see what's actually accurate without having that desire to solve it so quickly that you accidentally go down the wrong rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Correct. And which is why, in that sense, in the trial sense, our job only is to observe and report. That's it. We are to collect information, observe what we're told to observe, and report back to the trial lawyers. We can't go confront somebody. That could be a killer. That could be the offender, and we don't know it. So you never know. So to answer that person's question, the most important thing would be to sit down with the trial lawyers, obtain access to every piece of discovery so that you can understand what it is the state believes is their probable cause to proceed, and how that warrant got signed in the first place by a judge. Just saying, sometimes PCAs are weak and shouldn't have resulted in a warrant. Anyway, and then you get a sense from those trial lawyers what their strategy is, who they want you to focus on, and where your time's supposed to be invested.
Mazza, I got your link. I have pulled it up in a different tab.
Perfect. You want the next step? Sure. All right. At the bottom of the screen that you're in, where you see our video, you're going to go down and hit the plus sign video. The video, it's like a computer link with the plus sign on. You're going to click that. Then you're going to share your window, or whatever it is, the window, and then you're going to select the YouTube. Yep, share screen. Then you hit a blue button. It says share screen. Then on the next screen, it's going to give you a list of window tabs, and you're going to find the YouTube one. Once you select that, it should bring it right up on the screen here.
Oh.
Yep. Thanks, Glamma Suze, for getting this video tracked down for us.
Thank you, Glamma.
She's like the, you know.
Is it working? Is it?
Once you hit share, once you double click it and select it, it should pop up on the screen.
Okay, let me try that again.
And if it doesn't pop up on your screen, maybe it's at the bottom of the screen right now where you might see me talking in the lower bottom. And Erica, do you see it down there anywhere? We wouldn't see it, Erica. It would just be her.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
You got it? Okay, great. There it is. Perfect.
Look at me go. Okay.
There you go. Now, what I want to have you do
right.
is before we play this, I want you to go to the lower right-hand corner of the video, and you're gonna fit this whole thing to the window. So if you move your mouse over where the video is,
like this.
Yep, and then there should be do me a favor, hit play on this. It's playing an ad right now, but if you hit play there, play the video.
May have to so I don't see the play, and it's.
Is it frozen?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't see it. Let me see here. I wonder if I go back to this.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to go to YouTube.
Yeah, there's okay.
See those arrows that are moving.
A complete AI creation.
Northwest. Yeah, click that. There you go. And then skip the ad. Yep, and then you'll be.
Are you hearing the sound?
Yep, it's there.
Okay, and hopefully Jess doesn't mind us using this. If not, I'm sorry in advance, and I will ask for your forgiveness.
There we go.
Okay.
Yep, and then you just go ahead and let it play right out.
This is Kelsey
There you are.
Fitzsimmons.
And you have a comment still on the screen there. If you just uncheck that on your right side to hide the comment, that will get rid of the thanks Sue's comment from me. Right side of your.
James Kupachowski on behalf of the Commonwealth.
Up, you hit the video. Oh, there it is. Oh, never mind. Oh, it's the video itself. My mistake.
Hello, Your Honor, Tim Brado for
Yep,
Kelsey.
that's perfect. And then the comment section in your upper right-hand corner, you can hide my comment that's displaying on the screen. It should say hide comment somewhere.
Sorry, guys. Newbie here.
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Good afternoon, courtroom.
And then just make sure the volume on the video, if you go back to the video link, just make sure the volume on that video is at full blast. And then, yep, there, and then move that. Yep.
Judge, this is
Right, there we go. Perfect. There we go.
Causes Ms. Fitzsimmons a lot of pain, and I don't want to conflate her being able to pass the test because she's been passing them, but she has about 4 hours of pain and dizziness afterwards. And you know, I don't think anyone, and I know the court would share my thought that this shouldn't be a torture device for her. This shouldn't be something that causes her pain, impairs her rib healing, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, we're not trying to get any sort of advantage over anything. We just want her to not be in pain for hours after these tests, and B, you know, we just want her to not have the anxiety that if she has a difficulty doing it, that she's going to get a knock on the door and get locked up. We were told by the Elmo people that, you know, they may have to issue a warrant, and thankfully they didn't. And we appreciate, you have Mr. January's email regarding his own observations about what happened. And, you know, I think that says it all. That's someone that has no bias or interest, and, you know, probation enforces court orders, and that's that. And he's telling the court this is a problem. And, you know, this is something that should be addressed. And
Okay.
So I see this as a simple adjustment of terms.
I don't see it that way, just so you understand where I'm coming from. I don't see it that way.
Okay, can I?
Okay.
I don't understand
Can I
what
finish?
you're saying.
Okay, what I'm telling you, it's not a simple adjustment. One of the reasons she was released, and one of the reasons to ensure the safety of the community was for her to be alcohol-free. If she cannot do that or will not do that, that changes everything.
She's happy to be alcohol-free. She doesn't wish to be alcohol-free. It's just the means of determining that's the adjustment. That's what I mean when I say this is an adjustment that.
Well, a scram is what was ordered. Now, was she unable, when you said that there was a knock on the door, explain that to me, what
No,
happened?
Judge, that we don't want to have a knock on the door. She's living in fear of there being a knock on the door because of these tests. And it's just not between the physical and then the mental anxiety. This is a very significant issue for her.
Okay.
And that, we just want to adjust whatever means the court wishes to test her or figure this out is fine with us. But this is just a very difficult environment. And just, that's something that I just want to ask the court to adjust somehow.
Okay, so you're asking the court to adjust the court's order that's been in effect for 3 days with no medical evidence to support your claim that she cannot do it.
Well, I think you have 2 affidavits and the email from probation. I think that's pretty persuasive evidence that this is extremely difficult.
The email from probation is not evidence. If you have any evidence, now is your opportunity to submit it.
I don't understand the court's position. That's not evidence.
Okay, it's an email. It's hearsay. Commonwealth, do you have a position as to the submissions of an email as evidence in this hearing to relieve the defendant, Ms. Fitzsimmons, of a condition that's been in effect for 3 days?
I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we have the person who sent that email here.
Okay. So you have a burden, it's your motion. What do you want to do?
Well, Judge, I don't think that is the court saying that papers and emails and affidavits are not sufficient?
This is an email from a probation officer. The court gives that 0 weight.
Monday.com, the opposite of any work platform we tried in the past. We tried other work management platforms, not naming names.
Well, then you have an affidavit from Ms. Fitzsimmons and you have an affidavit from her mother of the physical observations of what happens. I think that's, the more persuasive evidence than a doctor saying something to the effect of, I think it's self-evident and it's common knowledge that if you have broken ribs that it's hard to breathe.
What evidence do I have that she has current broken ribs and that she's suffering from broken ribs at this time?
Well, you have an affidavit from her mother, you have an affidavit from Ms. Fitzsimmons, and the other day we were here, I submitted I believe I submitted the instructions from Mass General about broken ribs.
Okay.
I mean, I would just argue that it's somewhat self-evident as well. Thank you. It's somewhat self-evident as well, and that, she's having great difficulty here. It's been observed by probation, it's been attested to by her mother, and it's been attested to by Ms. Fitzsimmons. So it's just a very difficult scenario for her that luckily she has passed the test, but then she's got hours of pain afterwards. And the one that she had difficulty with, out of an abundance of caution, we were dealing with Elmo, and we were informed that they may issue a warrant. And
so I want to hear about the one she had difficulty with. When was that?
Wait a second. Well, so that's what I was saying, Judge. I don't want to conflate passing with not having difficulty. She has difficulty with every single test. And so she passes them in great pain. So she's had difficulty in every single one, equated, it's in the affidavit. So she has difficulty on every single one. So that's different issue than passing the test. So she's experiencing
can you pause that
all the way through. But the one that she was unable to,
yes.
This is one of the more outrageous moments in this entire hearing is that he simply is saying she can do the test,
right?
But it's an issue. It's physically difficult for her to complete it, at least at that time. It's no longer the case now, thankfully. But at that time, she was physically unable to do that without extreme levels of pain and all that. And it bothers me that this judge it's almost like she blatantly misinterpreted. I can't speak for her and what she's thinking, because quite frankly, she's such an outrageous person that I can't even possibly with a rational mind attempt to understand how her mind works and how she presides over her own courtroom. But I just cannot believe that she almost interprets it to be like she can't do it. And basically, Britta's like, I mean, it's amazing to me, kind of looking at this and understanding it more now than I did then. Knowing now that Kelsey does get healthier, knowing that she did, pending her release last month, that she was able to physically perform the test without issue. It's amazing that that judge didn't put in place some kind of temporary order to just say, okay, let's pull her off the scram test for a month. Let's come back to court in a month and let's just see how she does then. As opposed to banishing her back to Western Massachusetts, sending her to jail, costing her Thanksgiving, costing her, I mean, like I said, it's horrible that she has to stay in her house as it is right now, but anything is better than being in jail. Okay? At least she gets to be home, sit on the couch, watch TV, watch Netflix, whatever, hang around with the family, pets, whatever, go in the fridge and have ice cream, go, have a nice day, listen to some music.
Have your dog.
Whatever. Right. And she just absolutely banishes her here. And all this hearing is to basically say, look, she's having difficulty doing this. That's it. And she's just like, well, if she can't do it without pain, then that's the same as not being able to do it. And it's just amazing how this judge operated. And it is an outrage. And it bothers me that these judges can rule like this. And there's no checks and balances. And even when you do appeal to the Supreme Court, obviously you saw what happened there. And that's what bothers me about this state even more, because these Supreme Judicial justices, they typically defer to the judge's initial understanding. And they never, Bradel appealed, Karen Reed's team appealed after the first hearing about what happened. They wanted to have the jury basically come back. And that was not allowed. And it's horrible to see this play out like this time and time again. And that's what bothers me, because it's just these judges can go in there, be absolutely volatile. And I would say this, be beyond unreasonable. And then basically, well, we're going to send her back to jail because she's having difficulty. My God, can she at least have the option to struggle at home? But, it's unfortunate that we ask of fairness and understanding in our court system. It makes me sick.
It's disgusting. And welcome back, Claudia. We are currently listening to the audio of Judge Kathleen McCarthy Naiman, who threw her back into custody after Bradel asked for a consideration of a different device where it wouldn't interfere with her current injuries. But Maza, to your point, I got the impression the moment I listened to this that she had her mind set up, and the fact that they even asked for this, she was going to make them pay, and she was going to put her in prison no matter what, or in jail. Yeah. It's gross. Unreal. It's so gross. And Erica will be right back. She had something happen with her thing, so she'll be right back. Okay. Should we play it?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
It was 9/9/25 at 3:09 p.m. I guess.
And was that a required test that she was to do?
Yes.
And she was unable to perform it?
Correct.
Okay. Was she unable to perform it?
No.
What happened?
No. So since she can release charges.
Yes, swearing off.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear you will make true answers to such questions that may be put to you by the court or upon its direction, so help you God?
I do. Or if I could just pass this up. This is information pertaining to all of our students.
And is that being submitted, Attorney Bradel, as an exhibit for the purposes of this hearing?
Judge, I'd be more than happy to do that.
It's not more than happy to. You're either doing it or not.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead, Your Honor. It just says that she passed the test, so which is not an issue. The issue is that she's in extreme pain while doing it.
Here's a hot take.
Does the judge not understand that? Bradel has to say it like 6 times to help it make sense. It's unbelievable.
Exactly. I I couldn't
whether
have
she
hold my
passes.
tongue.
Okay, so there's one Officer January that says incomplete at 9:10:25 at 3:09 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what does that mean?
Yes. So what it means is there's a scheduled test that's programmed daily for her to be alerted and to initiate a test. And that happens. And so initially she answers the alert and attempts to take the test but is unable to complete the test. And based on my information, my conversations with Elmo is that is when she has difficulty either blowing as hard or as long, or a combination of both, into the machine to complete the test. So what happens after that is there are additional attempts to complete the test, which she tries, and then ultimately on that particular day, she successfully completes and passes the test on September 10th at 3:50 p.m.
Okay, what I have in front of me is an incomplete test at 9:10:25 at 3:09 p.m.
That's correct. And then if you just look
And then
right
it says
above that,
passed at 9:10:25 at 9:30 a.m.
okay, so you're looking, I'm referring to this second document, it's multiple pages.
Mhm.
I think if you just go up instead of the one above it, the
Okay.
incomplete is the.
So it's 3:09, it's incomplete, and then at 3:50 she passed.
That's correct.
So that's a period of 40 minutes.
She's so analytical about this. It's
That's
unbelievable.
correct.
This is insane. Was it 40 minutes and 11 seconds or 40 minutes and 33 seconds? We must
You'll
know.
see the same thing.
Hey, who cares?
So the other one, which is
September 9th, yes.
September 9th,
Again, at 3 o'clock.
she passed, but
The test is initially incomplete.
at 3:09, and then it's complete at 4:21.
For 4:20, 4:21.
So there were 2 times that she had an incomplete test. Is that
Yes,
correct?
incomplete, and
And what's the procedure of the probation department when somebody who has a condition of release to have a scram and to pass the scram test in a very serious case if they're incomplete? And I have 2 incomplete tests and I was not made aware of either one of them.
so my first job when we get an incomplete test is to gather more information. And so, which is what we do. And so in response to the incomplete test, we call Elmo, we gather the information, which is she answered the alert to take the test as scheduled. Unfortunately, she was unable to complete the test because she was unable to blow as long or as hard as needed to complete the test. So ultimately, at 4:20, she completes the scheduled test. There may be additional attempts in between, but ultimately she completes the test.
So that's for a period of
And so
an hour and 20 minutes.
that's correct. Now, in conjunction to the hour and 20 minutes, we also know that, and I observed it firsthand, that whatever the injuries are, which I don't know, actually doesn't really matter to me. But when I was doing the installation process
that?
and observed what was genuine pain, like
Okay.
genuine pain. So
And
I know,
Like he says, it doesn't matter what her wounds are. She can't complete it in general, but it just, that's what he's saying. He's just saying, look, in general, whatever, you just can't do it. It's just amazing to me how much this judge overlooks the fact that she was shot. I mean, does that judge not comprehend the fact? I'm going to say it again, that she was shot
In the chest.
Yes. Yeah. It's insane. It's like, and he's right. It doesn't matter what her wound is. If she can't do it for a medical reason, it doesn't matter what the medical reason is. She just can't do it without issue or without pain. But to just say, to just totally like ignore and be aloof to the fact she was shot is just so outrageous to me. And that's what bothers me so much. It just bothers me that in a court of law, and I said this about the Karen Reed case a lot as well, is it's hard enough when because Kelsey Fitzsimmons is playing from behind. It's almost like the Patriots in the Super Bowl when they're down 28-3. You're playing from behind. It's a critical game. You have to win it. And you have to do everything you can to come back and win. And that's what was happening with Karen Reed. And the problem with Karen Reed's trials was that not only were you battling people that were involved in what placed her in that very situation, but by the time Karen Reed got to the trial, she had to take on a judge known as Beverly Cannoni that was a emperor over that courtroom, was disrespecting all of her attorneys and even scoffing at her. And it turned into this excessive battle beyond the evidence, beyond what was on the case, beyond what was supposed to be fought in the courtroom. And now it turned into dealing with a judge that was either corrupt, negligent, or both. And you see the same thing happening with this particular judge here. This is why a lot of people are concerned about the upcoming trial, because you have a judge that rules over the case. And it's the age-old argument. Is she an idiot or is she corrupt? Or is she both? I don't know. But when I see this kind of stuff, she was shot. She can't do it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, because I'm getting a little fired up listening to this audio again. Is this very same judge has approved for Kelsey Fitzsimmons to have medical visits on approved routes, okay? At this time, if Kelsey, like this upcoming week or this past week, if Kelsey Fitzsimmons needs to go to a doctor's appointment or whatever for whatever it is she needs to get done, she can go through a certain level of means to get that approved, go on the approved route, go to her medical visit, and then return home. If that's the case, then why is it such a big deal at this particular point in time not to transfer her off the Scram device in her home and allow her to have a blood or urine test at a facility? Or I'm understanding that they can actually send people to your home to do that. And again, maybe she could have done it on a temporary basis. Maybe she could have scheduled a hearing check-in every 15 to 30 days and see how she's feeling. And if Kelsey Fitzsimmons was, like, for example, let's just say she never was sent to jail in the first place for this, right? Let's say she was released on September 8th and then she never goes back. That judge could have said, you know what? We're going to put her on another type of test, blood or urine, in facility or in her home. And then we're going to come back every 15 to 30 days to check in. And by the time Christmas rolled around, they would have rolled into that courtroom and said, you know what, Your Honor, we can go back to the Scram test now. She's ready to take the test on site to prove she can do it. We can transfer her off this temporary order of allowance. Like I said, I just don't see a significant amount of justification to have sent her back to jail when this judge could have given her alternatives, just like she's allowing her to go to her medical visits. And that's my argument.
No, it's great. And we all love spicy Mazda. So
yeah,
absolutely. It's insane. All for something that has nothing to do with the actual incident at hand. She wasn't drunk when she was shot. This has nothing to do with it. This judge, that's why I'm saying there's something there. It's personal. What is the connection?
Right.
That was my question. Why was alcohol brought into this anyway? Like, what was the determining factor that she just had to do these Scram tests in the first place?
The hell if I know. I mean, it's insane. Because Justin said she was drunk on weeks prior at her bachelorette trip, because who wasn't? I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
So because Justin was arrested when he was 19 for possessing drugs for distribution, he should still be taking drug tests then, right? If he's got the kid.
Right. Exactly.
True
This
story.
guy is scum. He is absolute scum. All right, let's finish this up here, and then we will chat some more with Claudia.
Any objection to any of the terms used by the probation officer? Okay.
So we have all that information. We don't deem that non-compliant. She's attempting to take the test, and she ultimately passes the test at 4:20. So with all of the information, that's not non-compliant. That's compliance, and with her obstacles.
What do you, I'm getting confused. What do you mean compliant? As far as when she was initially,
She took the test and passed the test.
testing. She was ordered.
when she initially was, started to be monitored by Scrim and you went through the preparations, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So when something is incomplete, do you typically bring it to the attention of the court?
No, that's not what we do. So if something is incomplete, as in this case, at 3 on September 9th at 3:09, we have an incomplete test, which is a scheduled test.
Mhm.
And then we have, that's simply not the non-compliance. If she had missed the test, that would generate additional responses from Elmo, and then that would determine whether or not there's actual non-compliance. If someone missed a test because they were down in the basement doing laundry and then came up and realized that they had a test, took an on-demand test 20 minutes later and passed the test, which means there's no alcohol in the system, we don't deem that as non-compliant. That's compliance. If they missed the test.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI.
Oh, so I can use Amazon AI to get 20,000.
We all get $20,000 now from
Additional
Amazon.
notifications were made by the electronic monitoring office regarding the missed test. If she failed to respond or she failed to take an alert for another on-demand test, now that's non-compliance, and we would initiate a pretrial violation notice and notify the district attorney's office. This particular case, I don't deem non-compliance because she's complying with the scheduled program. I'm aware of pain based on my observations from the installation process. So as long as she's attempting to take the test, continues to attempt to take the test, and then ultimately takes the test, that's not non-compliance. That's someone that's,
Well, that's
to
your
me,
position that's non-compliant.
Well-
It's really up to the court to decide whether somebody's compliant or not with conditions of release. What you're saying is those situations that you described is what you deem as appropriate to bring before the court.
it would, so I guess it would never be brought to court by way of a pretrial violation for an incomplete test with the information that I've talked about. So no, an incomplete test does not initiate a pretrial violation or from our end,
Right.
because there are many reasons for a test to be incomplete. And there are circumstances where someone misses a test and then takes an on-demand test. That's not intentional non-compliance. And the goal is to test to ensure that the person's sober, and that's we don't deem that non-compliance. And we never have.
Could you pause this for a
we
second?
never would, in this case,
Thanks.
initiate a pretrial violation.
Let me, I've had this conversation before on my show, and I'm going to have it right here before this show. Let me just talk about this. Let's just say she was home and she did get drunk. Well, she was under house arrest. What exactly is she going to do when she's in her home drunk with an ankle monitor? And even if she runs outside of her house, what exactly is the threat to the community here? I just don't understand it. I'm sorry. It's what is she going to do? She's going to walk out her front door. The alarm's going to go off on the bracelet. It's going to trigger the cops to show up at the house. And that's it.
There's no guns in the house.
Yeah.
Well, theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah, that's a good argument. Because you just never know, right? Because not that I believe she did, but out there it's true. There's people that don't have, Yeah, no, I understand your point, Claudia.
And just theoretically, because like they did such a great search, the first time. But yeah, I think it's nonsense that this is even an issue, and this judge is ridiculous. Like, she's arguing with probation of like, well, that's your opinion. Well, lady, I'm the one that deals with it every day. Like, I'm the expert when it comes to the scram tests, and I'm telling you XYZ, and she doesn't want to listen.
No.
And she has a relationship with this guy. It's Officer January. So she sees him on a regular basis to go over other people's probation matters. She knows this guy and his reputation and works with him. So I can't imagine his shock of the matter was like, what? I mean, it's disgusting.
And she takes his expert opinion under consideration all of the time in other cases. But for some reason in this situation, she's not interested in his input. No. It is so blatantly obvious. And again, it's deja vu all over again to my ears.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think we're almost done with this here.
Yeah. Well said.
Proceeding based on an incomplete test that was subsequently passed. And so the schedule for her to be tested is something that we discussed. Wasn't ordered by the court. The court ordered someone to be alcohol free.
What do you mean we discussed? So she knows when she's going to be tested?
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Ms. Fitzsimmons, I discussed with the defense counsel about creating a testing schedule, because it's more practical to have a schedule in place. There was no schedule that was ordered by the court. There's no frequency of testing that was ordered by the court.
It was
4 times a day, 3 times a day. None of that was ordered. She was ordered.
It was random screens. Excuse me, Ms. Officer January. It was random screens. Now you're telling me she's on a schedule to get tested? Is that what you're telling me?
We created a schedule, as we always do.
Okay.
As we always do. Not in this particular case. We always do.
It was random screens that were ordered.
Judge, I don't have that. I don't have random screens anywhere in my materials, for the record.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about random screens.
Okay.
Judge, just so I could clarify that. When we get an order, someone's placed on pretrial conditions that include remain alcohol-free with scram testing, we always default to creating this testing schedule.
Okay.
And up to 4 times a day. So we'll schedule one for the morning, we'll schedule one for the mid-afternoon, we'll schedule one for the evening, and if we have to, we'll schedule one for later at night. And that's to ensure that sobriety throughout the day. In this particular case, we created a schedule for her to be tested at 9:30, 3 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock. The only way we would not enter a schedule is if the court specifically said, I want the test to be done randomly. I don't want her to know when the test is coming. And the test to be done randomly. And at that point in time, we would take her off a schedule, and then we would notify Elmo to be tested 4 times a day at random.
Okay.
So that's done on this case, and it's done on every case.
Okay. Attorney Boyle, do you have anything else to submit?
Judge, I would just offer, I respect and I heard your Honor's take on the probation email, but for the record, I would move that into evidence as well. And I just want to also.
Commonwealth, do you have a position as to the admission of the email?
Well, I think we just heard with the email.
All right, so the email is excluded. Anything else, Attorney Boyle?
My objection, Your Honor.
Sure.
And Judge, I just want to state that on the pretrial conditions of release, it says comply with remote alcohol breath testing.
Okay. I don't know if that's what was ordered. I'm going to go back and listen to FTR.
I can tell the court from where I sit, I didn't remember any use.
I mean, you may very well be right, but I'm going to go listen.
Just, I just want to clarify something. My email, and I know but it's important that the court knows, I didn't make a recommendation that a scram condition be vacated. I never did that. I never suggested, it's all that email was.
Attorney, Officer January, nobody's asking you questions. Your testimony is complete. Are you asking to make a statement to the court?
If the court's under the belief that I recommended that condition be vacated or removed, then yeah.
I haven't said anything one way or the other, sir. We're here for one purpose and one purpose
Okay.
only, and that's for the motion to vacate the scram device. So
Can we pause there for some commentary?
Okay, Commonwealth, do you have anything?
No,
My God.
We're going to talk about that. Oh my goodness, that's outrageous. Just the fact that if he was all set, then why didn't she just dismiss him? Why did she? He sat there. He thought he was under the impression that he was still basically able to talk to this judge about, giving his account. And then all of a sudden she's like, what are you doing talking? Get the heck out of here. It's like, well, if you want him gone, then why didn't you dismiss him before?
Right.
What is wrong with this lady? Like, does she?
Exactly.
She needs a hug.
She needs something. I don't know. You're nicer than me.
She needs lots of hugs.
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all, aside from that was just last part that I heard her say to the cop. Because that part kind of blew me away. But this is what it's typical case where questionable relationships exist between the police and the judiciary and just all of those players. Because what I heard was just, when she said, what are we doing here? We're doing here to put the nail in this woman's coffin. That's what we're doing here in this moment. That's already been predetermined.
Doesn't it seem personal? Like, why are you so mad? Like, why are you so dead set on this?
Right. Like, if you're really there just to mete out justice, why are you so angry about this? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Somebody said in the comment section that scrams are 99% scheduled. I second that. I mean, I've had clients in the shelter system on scrams, and there was an alarm that went off multiple times a day. Of course, they're scheduled. And I would say, what is that? Oh, it's time for me to blow into the machine. Oh, time to give them my reading, So this makes no sense whatsoever. And the whole breast milk situation, come on. One test of one sample. You want to take a random sample, you go into a fridge and you take a random sample, or you sample that baby. There are ways without hurting this woman from healing.
And all of this is because Justin alleged there was, she was drunk at her bachelorette party weeks ago. It had nothing to do with the incident.
I would be concerned if she wasn't drunk at her bachelorette party.
Thank you.
Right? There's only one reason not to drink at your bachelorette party.
Right.
Yeah.
That would concern me. That would concern me. Then we would need to talk. Come on.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. All right.
So
at the end here, you're going to hear when she does what she does, you're going to hear Kelsey crying, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Somebody donate that $52 to get to 70,000.
The arguments.
We got $52. We can do it.
Is
capitalism was never designed to help you thrive. It was designed to keep you exhausted. I hate that.
We're $32 away now. Somebody just put in 20. 32 away.
Releasing the defendant that testing be done.
Okay. Attorney Bradel, first of all, I do have a question. So, Ms. Fitzsimmons is able to do the scram, is that correct? Or is she not able to do it? I don't know. Is she not able to do it?
That depends on whether the court is willing to tolerate that the material represented in the
The court
affidavit.
is not tolerating anything. Okay, let's
No
be
kidding.
clear.
No kidding.
I'm not tolerating
No
anything.
kidding.
The
We
court
get
is
it.
not tolerating anything. Ms. Fitzsimmons is a defendant. In lieu of incarceration, my order was that she submit to Scram. If she cannot do that, I need to know that. Can she do that or not?
She can do it
Okay,
under the terms that are
So-
laid out in the affidavit.
so you're saying she can do it on her own terms?
With significant pain and dizziness and having to recover for several hours.
I understand what you're saying. It is certainly not the court's intention. It's not the court's position to have Ms. Fitzsimmons in any pain at all, so I appreciate your argument. Do you have anything else to add?
I would suggest, Judge, that I think there's other ways to do this. If the court wishes to have her tested for alcohol compliant, lack of alcohol, that's completely fine with the defense, but just the means that's being employed is kind of a torture device for her.
Okay.
And so we object on due process grounds to that,
Oh, okay.
but
It is not this court's intention
I understand.
to torture Ms. Fitzsimmons at all. The court's goal is to make sure the community is safe and Officer Noonan is safe. So I hear you loud and clear that the defense views Ms. Fitzsimmons having to do the Scram as cruel and unusual and torture. Is that your position?
Well, that's an Eighth Amendment position. I suppose that
Okay.
can be put in there as well. But Judge, I think
70,000,
that,
we got
you know, that there's probably other alternatives that she could do that I believe are out there. But I know that might step on the court's other order for house arrest, that she would have to go to a facility. I know there's like urine tests and other things like that. So I know there's other possibilities out there that, again, she's not trying to use this to create a situation where she can go drink alcohol.
Okay.
That's not at all what this is about. So I just want to ask the court to consider any other alternatives that might not pose this type of an issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Attorney Gubitosi or Attorney Moriarty, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, I'm going to leave the bench for a few minutes. I'll break.
Court, all right.
Great job, everybody. 70,000. Yes.
Thank you.
Now we're back on the record with the
Great job,
Fitzsimmons
Lauren.
matter.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So I have reviewed everything again that's been submitted to me. And I will state for the record that Fitzsimmons has moved twice in a 3-day period to amend her conditions of release. On neither occasion has she submitted any medical evidence to support her claims. The imposition of conditions is the court's order after careful consideration of the evidence to fashion the least restrictive conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant and the safety of all other persons in the community pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 276, Section 58A2B. Just days ago, the court concluded that the condition of remaining alcohol-free and submitting to Scram monitoring was necessary to ensure the safety of the community. After a thorough review of all of the arguments and submissions by the Commonwealth and Fitzsimmons, that conclusion remains unchanged, regardless of Fitzsimmons' claimed physical limitations. Based on an affidavit submitted by Fitzsimmons' mother, the testimony of Assistant Chief Probation Officer Jeff January about his observations of Fitzsimmons' apparent pain during the Scram installation, and the representations of Fitzsimmons' counsel that it would be cruel and unusual punishment and torture to continue to require Fitzsimmons to comply with the condition of being monitored by Scram, the court concludes that Fitzsimmons cannot abide by the condition of being monitored by Scram. Without this condition, which ensures that she does not consume any alcohol, the court cannot assure the safety of Officer Noonan and all other persons in the community. Accordingly, the court's prior order of release is vacated, and Fitzsimmons is ordered to be held without bail pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 276, Section 58A. And a written order will
May I
follow.
address the court?
That's the court's order. Thank you.
All right, Jack, I ask you to stay your order pending the SJC. And there are other alternatives Your Honor can accomplish.
How disgusting is that? And what you don't see is that the judge walks off the bench while Bradle is trying to still have a discussion with her. She just leaves. I was shocked, and I was livid. Like, my blood was boiling after hearing that. I mean,
See, you've never seen that. I've seen it 40 days in a row. It's ridiculous.
that's insane.
And I bring this up because this is becoming a pattern. It's an overwhelming pattern within our legal system. It's happening more and more. That's why we're talking about it more and more. So that, yeah, this is a joke to me. It's a joke.
Yeah, what a terrible human being. Firstly, I just don't understand how she sleeps at night, and how nobody else like thinks that this is a problem. Like, what is going on here? What is going on here?
It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
You all have to petition. You've got to petition that court for cameras in that courtroom. You have to. I have a really bad feeling about this.
So they've been allowing, I think for the last couple, this particular one, they didn't allow it, but for the last couple of hearings of Kelsey's, there's been Michael from Justice Served there with his camera filming, and a couple other news stations. So at least they're having that now. This was something was weird with this, but yes. So it seems like we've at least got that going, that there is sunlight being shined in there, which is good. But my hope is that Court TV covers this trial when it happens in March and all of that.
We can make those requests, Lauren. I mean, we can make our voices heard with those producers, and
just don't have Julie Grant. Just don't have Julie Grant talk about this case.
No, I don't think so. And I wonder what her thought on that is. Since
I know, well, she's positive on Kelsey. That hey, okay, fine, but she was so negative on Karen Reed. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. And Vinny gave us a shout out today on his show for this show tonight. So,
I didn't realize.
So it was, yes, that's why I think a lot of people were here that had never really heard about this. And it was important to kind of give them kind of the background of it. Because if they haven't, they need to know at least a little something. And Claudia, I just want some more like thoughts of, actually, if you wouldn't mind telling the audience just a brief synopsis of what you went through as a police officer. I know that would be encouraging for Kelsey to know, like, that some of the horrible things that you dealt with, and now look at you, and the life that you have. And so, yeah, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a police officer in North Carolina, and while I was there, I was in a domestic violence relationship with another officer who abused me for several years. And, even after I found the strength and the courage to leave him, he continued to try and abuse me. He took my car away because it was in his name. There were pictures of me in a bikini put up all over my substation one day to try to shame me. Side note, I was not ashamed because I looked amazing, so that's fine. And, my sergeant she was a female, and I was labeled at one point that I was being manipulative because I had gone to my captain and said, hey, I have to put in this transfer because my boyfriend is making me. He wants me to switch over, and I don't want to. Can you please deny it? And he said yes, and he denied it. But then my sergeant was like, oh, you're just being manipulative. So like I couldn't even get a woman, on my side at that point. Fast forward to when I was a police officer in Colorado, a very small department. I was actually kidnapped and assaulted by a senior officer. And I more than understand a lot of what Kelsey is going through because my department covered it up. The whole town covered it up. When they investigated, I had text message evidence, I had geolocation, I had all the evidence. And when they realized that, that's when they started to push everything under the rug because they did not want their happy little resort town to be mired by a corrupt chief of police. That's right. I said chief of police. So they covered it up. They pushed it under the rug. And, he was not even charged because the town wouldn't let the DA file charges. Again, even after my investigator said, look, we have all this evidence, we have this, that, and the other, but they can't file charges. It's the DA's office that has to do that. So, I understand what it's like to feel like the whole world is against you, but you can get through that. You can beat that, because we all know that Kelsey is amazingly strong. Look at what she's already come through. Look at what she's already survived. And so we know that what she's going through, everything happens for a reason. And we don't always know that when it's happening. I believe what Kelsey is going through is to shine a light on what's going on in these departments. It's to shine a light on this judge that clearly has issues with Kelsey in particular, and, making rulings that are fair to a defendant who is allegedly presumed innocent. That's kind of our thing here. So,
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the reason that she's going through this. And I know it's hard for her and it doesn't make sense right now, but there will come a day when she will be grateful because she's been able to make such a difference for so many other people. And that's just what she has to focus on.
I think that's great advice. And I know you guys, no one on the panel is an attorney tonight, but it's just my strong belief that after this is all said and done and she is found not guilty on these charges, I think she has one hell of a civil suit against quite a few players in this game. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but feel free to weigh in.
Oh, I think she absolutely has a civil suit. I think her big challenge will be finding the right lawyer to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the flip side. That's the part that we don't talk about enough. I've spent about 6 months now trying to find the right lawyer to take my civil suit for my false arrest and defamation. And it turns out every law firm I've talked to seems to represent an officer somewhere along the line. And so, we find those tentacles run deep. And so it's you spend a lot of time and a lot of effort exert a lot of time and effort just trying, and it's so hard, telling your story over and over and over. And Claudia, it was hard to hear. It was hard for me to hear. It was hard for the audience to hear. You could tell by the comment section. But your voice, Kelsey's voice, my voice, Lauren's voice, all of us who have been exposed to this type from one angle or another, we have got to keep telling our stories. We have to. And I'm just so proud of you that you can tell it now without breaking, because I'm sure that took a lot to get there. But kudos to you, and keep speaking that truth, sister, because I'm telling you, you deserve all of the support, and Kelsey needs that support. And when she comes out of this, Kelsey, if you're listening right now, I'm telling you, we have a network of female lawyers, investigators, paralegals who band together behind the scenes that you don't know about yet, honey. And we're going to wrap our arms around you as soon as we possibly can.
Yes.
200%.
And that's what you need.
Yeah, we do.
We
And
need that right now.
And thank you so much for saying that. And we all have to tell our stories. We can't stop, because that's what society wants. They want us to shut up. It's uncomfortable to hear. It's uncomfortable to talk about. Ooh, nobody wants to talk about getting beat up at home. That sucks. Yes, it does. But when we don't talk about it, we tell other people that they shouldn't talk about it either, that they should be ashamed. Like, I didn't talk about what happened to me here in Colorado for years. It happened in 2017 because I was ashamed. I didn't want to tell people, oh, I was dragged into the woods and this, that, and the other. And then one day, it was like a switch flipped, and I was like, why am I ashamed? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not the monster here. there's no more shame. And so then that just became the day that I was able to start talking about what happened, because that's what the monsters want. They want us to feel that shame. They don't want us to talk about it, because once we do, we find out other people have been through similar situations. We're able to band together and we're able to fight back.
I will tell you, because it's really, really current. But, Lauren knows I am speaking out very vocally right now about police corruption in Indiana. And lo and behold, I just got a cease and desist today. And it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It came from a lawyer representing a cop. And it is a multi-million-dollar threat. If I say this name one more time. Now, I have the victims. I have the police reports. I have allegations of sexual assault. And I have been now threatened with a $17 million lawsuit if I open my mouth one more time. I'm like, are you kidding me? Bring it on. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah. Nobody in their right mind has $17 million, so take what you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's my lip gloss. Please enjoy.
Bingo. Right? You want a pen? I mean...
But yeah, it's ridiculous, but that's what they want to threaten. They want to scare people. They want to, throw their big bad numbers around and think that that's going to make a difference.
Correct.
It's sickening. I mean, it is absolutely sickening. And one thing that you said, Claudia, struck with me when I was in my domestic violence marriage, when I got married at 19, I thought domestic violence looked a certain way. And I thought people in domestic violence looked a certain way. And I was like, maybe this isn't really that. Like, I don't know. And then when I realized it was, there was shame and there was guilt and all that kind of stuff. And when I finally was able to get out of that, it was like a flip of a switch. And I don't know exactly what it was. But I was like, all of a sudden, like, no, actually, I want to talk about this. Like, why do I feel bad about it? I didn't do anything. So it can be like that. And so when you said that, it really resonated.
I just want to say, I think we're over 1,100 for the night. I think I saw that scroll through. Is that right?
Yes.
So you guys are amazing. Like, if you have $1, give $1. And honestly, I love people that give $1 even more than people that give 1,000, because when you give $1, like, that person, that's all they have, and they're giving it to you. They're giving it to an amazing cause. So if you have $1 and that's it, please give that $1, because Kelsey needs the support of every single one of us right now.
Mm-hmm. And that makes me think of a thing. I think Karen Reed was talking about it when people were fundraising for her thing. There was someone who I think every week would give her $1.43. So like 143 for I love you, because that was his paycheck each week. And that was what he could spare. But every single week he gave 143. And she said like that meant like so much to her. So absolutely. And all of that adds up too. Like everything means something. It's from your heart, and it's very much appreciated. This family and Kelsey are really, truly wonderful people, and they really appreciate everyone's efforts. And so it's what we can do here is make a difference, and it might not be the biggest difference. We don't have the ability to, get the charges dropped, but we can put pressure on the system, and we can advocate and use our voice and fundraise so that she can have the best chance of getting off, and the best lawyers and that kind of thing.
And education is key. And we are educating everybody on here right now. And I think that's important as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Maza, do you have any questions? I know I'm not sure. So Kimmy was coming, and she had a flight, and then the weather. And so it was just whenever she had just landed when she texted me last. And then she said she would be on as soon as she got to her hotel and got things set up. And she hoped that it would be in time. So I don't know, but certainly if Kimmy missed it, it's for an amazing reason. So there's terrible weather and all of that kind of stuff there too. So if she doesn't make it, I plan on doing more, and I'm sure that she'll be at the next one, and probably at Maz's and all of that as well. So
she's with us here in spirit. We love Nurse Kim. She
That's
cares
right.
about Kelsey a lot, and she's always very passionate about these subject matters, and we appreciate her. And the most important thing, she's safe and has good travels and enjoys her evening. And we'll have her back on another show soon.
That's right.
So we love Nurse Kim, and we love you, Lauren.
We
You hosted
do.
the show, and look, you've done a fantastic job. You helped Kelsey hit 2 goals tonight. You helped her cross 70,000 on our GiveSendGo, which is a massive achievement. And additionally, your fundraiser tonight has raised over $1,000.
Well, I love you right back, and I couldn't have done it without you and our other 2 amazing guests, and all the amazing people here watching. Like, thank you for supporting. Like, my channel is small, so if you haven't subscribed, it would mean the world to me for you to subscribe. I plan to do more of these and bring other content, in the future. But I just thank everyone. This wasn't me. This was everyone. This is a big joint effort and a big family effort. And it sucks when people are saying things about you that are so mistrue and just false lies, and you can't speak out and you can't use your voice. But to have other people kind of step in and shine a light on that when you're not able to speak. And we know Kelsey will be soon, but right now, it does mean a lot to her, and we're there for you, girl. We love you. And, we're not done yet. We're going to keep showing up and helping in any way we can and get that baby back to you. That's the thing. We say justice for Kelsey, but it's justice for Caden too. And I always say he's going to grow up and he's going to learn exactly what his father did. And, it's not too late to do the right thing, Justin. Like, it really isn't. You can make this right, and you should really want to, because your son deserves that. But either way, Kelsey's going to get through it. She's going to come around on the other side and be stronger and enjoy that baby.
You got me on the baby, Lauren. Sorry. That's where it broke. Because you're right. It's
true.
Yeah. It's so
It
hard.
is, and
She's in her most important bonding time right now, and that baby's been stolen from her. And that
Yeah.
is something
Yes.
she can't get back. And so she deserves to have as much of it back now as she can. So yeah, this is a disaster, and it has to be resolved. It has to be remedied. Remedied.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that she's got a very supportive family, and she's got some really close friends that have been there for her, that have been getting her through it. And her sister is amazing as well. And we haven't met personally yet, all of us, but we care about you, and we're sending virtual hugs, and we got your back. We're in your corner, and so we're honored to do this anytime that we can. Mazza, do you have a exact total on the night?
We do. I just put it in the chat as we speak. New total is $1,161. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to allow the fundraiser totals to go 10 minutes after the shows go off the air, because we found out Sunday when we did our fundraiser that $200 came in after the show. So we actually were a lot higher than we thought. I was like, I looked at the thing like 10 minutes. I'm like, you know what? We're counting it, because it was our highest grossing show ever.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Give it 10 minutes.
And there's no way to put in where they're donating for on this one. Is that correct?
They could put it in the comments, so they could write like your name, like Lauren, for Lauren's fundraiser, or for the fundraiser total. I used to have it say, write Mazza in the comments on mine, but I usually just count what's coming in throughout the show. Now, the $200 that came in after the live we did Sunday, they actually specifically said Mazza in it, and we had just hit it, breaking our record. Then I realized after the show, I'm like, wait a second, I'm counting it, because they put Mazza. They obviously, some people are behind too. They watched the show 20 minutes behind, perhaps. So like, we're counting it. Everybody came, everybody pitched in so hard that night. I'm like, I can't deny us having the record-breaking episode, which is now 4,300. We beat it by $9. It was $4,291 was our previous record. We beat it by $9. I'm like, no, I'm giving this to everybody, this record tonight, because I was just so proud
That's
of
amazing.
everybody's
Oh,
participation. So like with me being the number counter, I have to like decide, does it count or not? I'm like, nope, we're counting it. We broke the record. We're celebrating, you know. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that it, you know, to go a little after, because like I know tonight, like we
Yeah.
had we still have a lot of people watching,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
like Melanie Little, I think was live, and she's like the
Yeah.
queen. So you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
just to have a good amount of people watching when she's on is something to be proud of in itself. So I know that some of those people will probably come here after her
Yeah.
stream and be watching it too. So if
Right.
you are here after, thank you. And if you want to put something in there like Lauren's fundraiser or CSI, because that's the name of my channel, Common Sense Investigator, then we can count that for that. And then that way we'll be able to add that to the totals. But either way, the important part is that Kelsey's getting the money. So any way you can donate, the popcorn, poppin' popcorn, all of that. But yeah, just thank you everyone on the panel who has joined me tonight. We'd love to have all of you back, and your insight was awesome. I know that I've been wanting to like pick people's minds on like the law enforcement side. So I was super pumped when Claudia said she'd come on. And then obviously Erica is like, a mentor to me. Like when I have questions about private investigating, I'm like always like, okay, let me find out if I'm correct on this, because she is wise, and she has the same kind of passion I do for missing persons cases. And so and then Maza, you're just the most amazing human being, and has been so outspoken about the Karen Reed case, out there protesting at court, at the courthouse, and then doing like so many fundraisers for Kelsey. Like, what's the total that you've raised for her now?
9 fundraisers. We've done $19,000 over 9 fundraisers on the lives. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Great job.
incredible.
Mhm.
And this guy is so smart, but yet has no ego, and like you won't find a person that doesn't like him. Like everyone loves Maza.
And he's tech savvy.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
and tech savvy. Yes.
Tech support. Not only do I do fundraisers and stuff, I offered, Lauren, we had tech support before the show. We made sure your show was technically ready to go, and we ironed everything out.
You should probably go help out some of those departments with their camera.
You're right. Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, exactly.
North Andover, you hear that?
Yeah, second career path you got there.
That's funny.
Oh man. Well, thank you everyone. Keep those donations coming after this. If you're watching it late and this is over, that doesn't mean you can't donate, and it doesn't matter how small. All of you that are watching, please share this. You can hype it, and I think that gets the algorithm going so that other people will see, and then they can come in and donate and learn about Kelsey's case. Like, it's all about getting new eyes and just awareness on her case, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you hear about this case, it pisses you off, and it makes you want to, like, what can I do? Like, even if it's sharing it. Kelsey's family has said before, like, they believe in prayer. So pray for Kelsey, pray for her family. That can help. So nothing too small is too small. Like, and it all matters. So thank you for being here. Thank you to all my amazing guests. It looks like the new total is 1,166, which is great. We will take it. That's amazing. And they very much appreciate it. So thank you everyone, and we will see you next time. And I'm sure Maza will be having another one of his incredible fundraisers soon.
February 1st, probably. It's gonna be the night before the popcorn thing ends. I think we're gonna boost it the night the popcorn big time. Yeah. So
perfect. Good, because I'll have mine by then, and then I'll buy more probably. So
right.
That's popcorn looks amazing. I gotta get
it
some.
Is. Yeah. Strawberry shortcake.
Popcorn. Yeah.
Try that strawberry shortcake popcorn. Yeah.
Okay.
This is
that
they have everything. Everything. Any kind of anything. They have key lime pie stuff. They have
Oh yeah.
like
Okay.
what else do
Well,
they have? Like cookies.
this is going to be a
pretzels.
problem, but it's fine.
Right.
Yep.
There goes the resolution, Claudia.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a
We got 2 more
lot.
months till spring, so we're good. You know, I've been doing my
Thickum
daily
season.
cycle.
That's what we say here. It's thickum season. So like you're good still. Still thickum season.
I
Oh
love
man,
it.
but yes, thank you guys again, and it was so great catching up with you ladies. I know we see each other
Ditto.
occasionally on
That was great to
Vinny's
see you, Lauren.
show.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but love you
I
guys
just met
all.
Erica,
Every one of you.
and I love her. So
Oh, right back.
Yes.
We're gonna talk, girl.
yeah, make that
told-
connection.
I told Erica, I was like, you're gonna love her. Like you're gonna love the panelists. And when you get to meet Nurse Kim next time, you will love her. She is hilarious and smart and brilliant. So yeah, you're gonna. I think you have like some new friendships forming here too as
Love
well.
it.
So
Love
that
it.
always helps.
Same.
But yes, everyone, keep Kelsey and her family in your prayers, and keep those donations coming in so she can fight the injustice. And we will be back and do it again. Thank
Free
you,
Kelsey
everyone.
Fitzsimmons. Thank you.
Have a great
Free
day.
Kelsey.
Free Kelsey. Bye.
Bye.